upstate.
What in the absolute Bayou BS is going on at LSU right now? Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson, operating at 100%. I'm Diesel, operating, as you can tell, somewhere around 85. But usually I only hit about 90, so 85 is not bad.
And this is for all those people that said, oh, he's not really sick.
Oh, well.
Shove it to you. Told you.
Here's the thing. I knew I should have picked up the phone and apologized to Dewey.
Yeah, he was the one.
And say that, man, I'm sorry that I had to take the day off. I'm sorry that I had to disappoint you. But it has not been a fun last couple of days for me. Just like it has not been a fun last couple of days for old Brian Kelly and for Governor Jeff Landry of the state of Louisiana and everybody involved with trying to figure out this absolute clown show that is happening in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Welcome into the show. You Tolos watching on the stream. Man, 35 of you, 40 of you already jumped on the stream. That's awesome to see. Jump in the comments section and chat with one another and us as well. But Cole, LSU is making, I'm sorry, I'm going to be doing this a lot throughout the show.
It's all good.
LSU is doing significant and irreparable damage to its image, to its football program, to its ability to hire a next elite level head coach by what they're doing, trying to weasel their way out of Brian Kelly's $54 million buyout. I don't know if you've had a chance to talk about it already this week, because it sort of broke over the weekend that this was going down, and obviously yesterday being a holiday. Yeah. So I don't know if you got a chance to talk about it on Monday.
Wires, and that was it.
But oh my God, how can you be this stupid? Number one, to make a whole string of stupid decisions and then to cap it off with the worst one possible while you're trying to hire Brian Kelly's replacement. If you already had Lane Kiffin in place, if you already had Kurt Signetti in place, Eli Drinkwitz, whoever it is, fine. Go back on your word. Try to take money out of Brian Kelly's pocket. That's fine. It's still a bad look, but you've got your coach in place. The contract is there. The ink is signed, and he is on campus recruiting and coaching at LSU. But how could you be so stupid as to try to go back on the deal and say, oh, we didn't actually fire Brian Kelly, because the guy that fired him, we also fired, and he had no authority to fire the guy.
Yeah.
So good Lord.
It's a tough place to be in. It's a sticky situation, Diesel, because to your point there, Kelly, what LSU is arguing, and what I'm trying to read it, that they're arguing that Kelly wasn't formally terminated, right?
Oh God.
So Brian Kelly was not formally terminated by LSU, according to Kelly's complaint, right? LSU's taken the position that, hey, you just mentioned if he were fired, well, guess what? He wasn't fired, right? The termination wasn't valid. They believe they have grounds to terminate for cause, which would relieve them, Diesel, of paying the full buyout, which I get. If I can find a way out of not paying the full buyout, you better believe I'm going to try to find a, what do they call it? A
loophole.
Loophole. There you go. I'm going to try to find a loophole. Thank you.
So, I mean, I'm not surprised that Louisiana and those folks down there are trying to figure out a way to weasel out of the money here. But Cole, there's something called good faith negotiation.
Yeah.
And nobody will want to do business with a party that does not negotiate and act in good faith. And this is, without a doubt, a bad faith way to try to wiggle out of that money. So again, this is coming from Brian Kelly's legal team. They filed a lawsuit in Louisiana seeking a declaratory judgment that he was terminated without cause under his coaching contract. And again, LSU is claiming that he was not formally terminated and that he was not fired for cause, and that if we can figure out a way to find some sort of evidence, if we can manufacture some evidence, if we can kangaroo court our way into some evidence that Brian Kelly was doing some shady stuff down at LSU, well, then we can walk scot-free. We can get out of paying that $54 million. And this, Cole, is how you go from the tippy top of the list of coaching options and school and programs that need head coaches to the very bottom. Because who would want to do business? Who would want to sign up to deal with this? I can't say the word on the radio that I want to say.
Yeah, unfortunately,
clown show.
Unfortunately, it's a tough spot. The reality of it is, Diesel, and I understand, As I've said multiple times, I always try to do what? Always try to see both sides. However, I think I'm siding with LSU here. Here's why. The for cause that you brought up, Diesel, that is any kind of violation. When you talk about termination for cause, it allows termination for major violations, NCAA rule violations, felony convictions involving certain misconduct, serious ongoing disrespect or misconduct that violates LSU's mission, etc. So LSU trying to negotiate a lower lump sum settlement instead of paying the full buyout, what you said is what, $54 million? 54, is that right?
Yep.
From a business standpoint, the reason I'm going to side with LSU here is, Diesel, guess what? I've got to do everything I can. If I can save $25 or $30 million and find a loophole, it would be stupid not to. So from LSU's standpoint, I don't blame them. Does it mean Diesel, does that mean that I think it's right what they're doing? Absolutely not. But you have to figure out how you can get out of $25 million if that's an option.
Whatever happened to you stand on business? Whatever happened to you make a decision,
buyout,
you sign a contract, you stick to the contract, and you do what was agreed upon? LSU made a terrible decision to hire a guy that doesn't fit at LSU. We're just going to go down the laundry list. Check, hired a guy that doesn't fit at LSU. Check, paid him a gigantic contract. Check, signed up for an absolutely massive, gargantuan buyout. Check, decided to fire him when they were 5-3, by the way.
Yeah.
Decided to fire a guy that was winning over 70% of his games. He was in the top 5 win percentage of all LSU coaches all time. And you just had this knee-jerk reaction. We got to get him out of here. We don't like him. He's not one of us. Send his ass back up north. Like, you made all of these decisions. You got some sort of verbal agreement, I guess, a good old boy handshake behind the scenes. Hey, I think we can raise that $54 million. And then all of a sudden, you don't have that $54 million, and you're trying to wiggle your way out of it. I have heard nothing to this point, nothing about Brian Kelly engaging in anything that would be a for-cause termination. Nothing. You may not like the guy. That's fine. But not liking the guy, disliking an individual because of their personality is not a for-cause termination. And
well,
LSU,
I don't know that's what they fired him for.
Well, they fired him because he wasn't winning enough.
Right.
Now, if you want to say, and this, I'm being facetious here, if you want to say that our mission at LSU is to win national championships and he wasn't doing what he needed to do to complete that mission, that's fine. But come on, man. If you're saying we're firing you for cause and not paying you what we agreed upon to pay you if we terminated you because you never won a national championship, man, this is the biggest black eye you could possibly put on yourself.
Well, the reality of it is, Diesel, it all goes back to what JB said on the YouTube stream. And while I want to be very clear, while I do side with LSU wanting to try to get out of $25 or $30 million, I don't think it's right. I don't think it looks good. I don't think it's pretty. I think it's messy. And it all goes back to JB on the YouTube stream, and I think he hit the nail on the head here. He said when you get the governor of your state involved in your state's biggest college football program, you're asking for trouble. Now, I want to be very clear on that comment as well, JB, because you're right to an extent of when you get the governor of your state involved in your state's biggest college football program. However, if you look across the board, and I don't know every situation in every state, but most college football coaches that are state employees have direct ties and direct correlations in Diesel with the government of the state. They are government. They literally work for the state. Yeah. If you are a public program, right? So number one, I think there are more programs that are tied in bed with the state's government. But to your point, JB, it's not nearly as messy because, the governor of South Carolina or North Carolina or Georgia or Florida is not saying, hey, we want to make the decision when it comes to who Florida's football coach is, or South Carolina. Shane Beamer's not doing it good enough. It doesn't have a good look.
Would you trust Henry McMaster to hire the new head coach at South Carolina? No, because he's not a football guy.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the governor's politics, with his policies. He's not a football guy. I would not trust Jeff Landry enough to write it on a piece of paper and stick a name in a hat That's how little I would trust Jeff Landry to hire a head football coach at LSU. Now LSU has attempted to negotiate a settlement with Brian Kelly. They offered him $25 million. Hey, BK, would you be a guy? Would you be a pal and take 25 instead of 54? And he said, nope. It's in the contract. You owe me 54. And then they said, hey, 25. All right, you fine, man. You got it. This is a little light. What if we bumped it to 30? Could we make a deal at 30? And BK said, kick rocks. And that's where they are in this. So that's why LSU is trying to weasel their way out of this. Again, I have seen nothing when it comes to recruiting violations, when it comes to mistreatment of players, when it comes to, blatant disrespect of university management. None of that has happened. So LSU is trying to manufacture. They probably got half the PIs in the state of Louisiana digging through Brian Kelly's trash, trying to find anything that they can pin this thing on. And this is an awful look. I would have put LSU as probably the number one job available in college football right now. When you stack it up
with all this going on,
before this, when you would stack it up against Florida, when you stack it up against Penn State,
I'm with you there.
When you stack it up against the other jobs that are available, LSU was probably the sexiest girl that you could have taken to that dance who didn't have a date. Now they are at the bottom of that list. And here's what I hope happens out of this. I hope Brian Kelly gets petty. I want Brian Kelly. I can't believe LSU is doing this to me. I can't believe that they are making me advocate for Brian Kelly and get in his camp.
Yeah.
But if they somehow find a way to fire him for cause, and it's some really slim technicality, Brian Kelly needs to sue the state of Louisiana for every single dollar they have. Every single dollar, because that's slander. That's libel. You get fired for cause, no one's going to hire you. And I don't know if Brian Kelly's going to get back into coaching after this. He could, but I don't know if he'll be a head coach at a Division I Power 4 conference team again. But if he gets fired for cause, that goes on his permanent record. And that is the definition of slander.
Yeah, and I guess a big part of it for me is it's kind of like playing a lawyer here. You have to play, if you're hired by LSU, you have to play their side. If you're hired by Brian Kelly, you have to play their side.
You've been watching the Murdoch documentary.
I have. I finished it already. Well, no, episode 7 came out today.
Legal maneuver.
It's not a documentary, by the way.
Oh, it's right. It's a drama series.
Drama series.
I watched episode 1 last night. Pretty good.
It's good.
Pretty good start.
Really is. It's entertaining. So what my point being here, look, you're siding with Brian Kelly. That's fine. I would, if I'm in Brian Kelly's camp, Diesel, I would also advise him to do the same things that you're talking about. But on the reality, on the flip side, the reality of it is with LSU. Look, LSU's got to figure out a way to find that loophole that I was talking about with $25 or $30 million. It doesn't mean that LSU's in the right. I think LSU's the one here with egg on their face. I don't think Brian Kelly looks bad. Will Brian Kelly be hired, Diesel, at another Power 4 coach institution anytime soon? Maybe not, but I can tell you, when you look right now on the 12th day of November, it's not Brian Kelly that looks bad. It's LSU that looks bad. Now,
so bad.
With that being said, the cause for clause, if you will, it does exist for LSU. So when you talked about for cause, you're talking about the conduct, the violations, the acts of dishonesty, whatever, right? The neglect. I don't know that they'll be able to identify anything that actually is here's the reality of it. They're probably not going to be able to identify anything that's criminal or misconduct. But what does the contract – how is the contract set up, Diesel? Do they have to find something? When you talk about digging through the trash cans with their gloves on, do they have to find something that's legally justified that has some sort of relation to criminal misconduct or internal violations? Where is the legal justification? Where does that land?
So you mentioned this earlier. This, just bringing it back up for the Tolos. The contract allows for termination for cause if Brian Kelly engaged in major NCAA violations. To this point, no evidence of anything like that. Criminal behavior related to gambling, drugs, or alcohol. So far, there is no indication that any of that occurred. Or serious misconduct that undermines LSU's mission. And that's probably where they're going to go with this. Serious misconduct that undermines LSU's mission, because that is such a vague.
Say that again, though.
Serious misconduct that undermines LSU's mission. So what does that mean? That seems like a very umbrella term that's kind of that catch-all at the end of things that, that's never going to come up. I mean, serious misconduct that undermines LSU's mission. I think nobody even knows what that means until you need to use it. If you're LSU's lawyers, then you can say, Brian Kelly left the door propped open one night, and that could have allowed anybody to walk into our building and steal trade secrets. That undermines LSU's mission. They'll find something like that.
I just don't know. When you talk about the mission, I don't know what they'll find. And look, I think LSU should do its due diligence and try to find something. Like I said, I've been siding with them this whole time. But could Kelly's performance and leadership issues qualify as cause? I mean, I guess so. The reality of it is it written in ink? Is it written in pencil? How do you identify cause, Diesel? Because cause isn't always committing a crime, right? It can also mean failing to fulfill the duties that you were hired to do. So if that's their position, LSU's position is that, hey, they were 5-3, embarrassing losses, the locker room turmoil, right? You can try to dig up some turmoil from the locker room. And if they can demonstrate, like if LSU can demonstrate loss of institutional confidence, culture problems, toxic program atmosphere, I think those things, Diesel, can support a for-cause arguments based on the university's missions and values that you would imagine have to be pretty wide.
I've got it right here.
Okay,
I've got it right here. LSU's mission statement.
Well, let me preface by saying, before you read the mission statement and values, if you can demonstrate loss of institutional confidence or culture problems based on that mission statement that you're about to read, that mission statement that you're about to read, Diesel, better be very, very vague.
Yeah.
It better be vague.
This is directly from LSU's website. You can look it up. lsu.edu/about/mission.
Yeah.
Designated as a land, sea, and space grant institution, LSU secures, elevates, and advances Louisiana and the world through the generation, preservation, dissemination, and application of knowledge and cultivation of the arts, and develops students who are prepared, confident, and inspired to achieve lifelong success.
So it's vague.
It's very
vague.
I mean, it's a university mission statement. They're all vague, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, though. How do you, and maybe a good lawyer can do it, how do you take those pieces, right? What do they call it in court? The supporting facts.
Evidence.
The supporting evidence. If you can take the facts and the evidence and say, well, Brian Kelly, he gave us, a drop in confidence and our institutional confidence. He neglected the culture, the culture, the confidence in the culture that we've built here. He created toxic program atmospheres. Like if you can tie the two together, then I guess you have a strong argument, maybe.
Oh, that's the flimsiest argument I've ever heard.
But what else do you have, though?
Nothing. You got nothing, LSU. So
but what I'm saying is,
you look stupid even trying.
Right. Well, they're going to look stupid regardless. If they win or lose, they're going to look stupid. That's my point. But they have to do diligence and at least try to find something, because from a business standpoint, if you tell me, hey, Cole, you can go to court and try to fight this, and if you win it, you don't have to pay $25 to $30 million, or worst case is you have to pay him his full buyout of $54 million. You better believe I'm going to hire the best attorney possible to go and try. As crazy as it sounds, I'm going to have somebody trying to fabricate something so that I don't have to pay $25 to $30 million.
The question is, who's going to be the bag man? Is it going to be, or the hatchet man? Is it going to be Whit Weeks? Is it going to be Garrett Nussmeier? Is one of them going to come out and say, Brian Kelly touched me? No. It's going to be a load of crap when it comes out, and we all know it. What
Probably.
A bad. See, you said worst case, they got to pay out the 54. No, worst case, they pay out the 54. They pay a lawyer couple of $1 million, lose the case, and then Brian Kelly sues them for even more money that they have to pay. That's the worst case scenario.
Ugh, that'd be messy. But again, it's all, to JB's point, it's already messy. It really is. Tolos, we are going behind enemy lines a day or two early this week. We're talking to Paul Rogers in the very next segment, play-by-play voice of the Louisville Cardinals. Paul will join us to talk Clemson, Louisville next. It's time to talk a little Louisville Clemson as we go behind enemy lines. We do every single week with Clemson and South Carolina. This time we're going behind enemy lines with Paul Rogers. He's the play-by-play voice of the Louisville Cardinals. Paul, how the heck are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, and congratulations for the proper pronunciation of Louisville.
Ah, yes. I'm glad I scored one.
I thought it was Louisville.
Is that what it normally is in the incorrect way?
Most people know it's not Louisville, but you get a lot of Louisville, which technically it is. But when you're a native, it's too much trouble to say Louisville, so it's Louisville.
Louisville. I guess it's my southern drawl there that did me. Hey, look, finally my thick southern accent works for something. Glad to start off on a good note, Paul. Appreciate you hopping on with us, man. A whirlwind, a roller coaster of a season for the Clemson Tigers. You get to see them in person for the first time Friday night. Is there any in your mind, like this is the number one story talked about going into the season? Oh, this is a Friday night game. It could be weird for Clemson, a trip-up game. Well, come to find out, a lot of games will trip up games for Clemson in 2025. Any significance of playing on a Friday being tougher than normal in your mind?
Well, I think it's tougher for the opponent, to be honest with you. Louisville just seems to thrive on these Friday night games. The crowd is in the early weekend mode. They tend to get a little juiced up, if you'll pardon the expression, and it's a really lively, fun-loving crowd on Friday night games here. So I don't think the short turnaround is any big deal. This is the third Friday night game Louisville has played. I think, has Clemson played one this year yet? I'm not sure, but
not yet.
So I think the Friday night home games for Louisville works to their advantage, but it's certainly nothing that Clemson can't overcome. I mean, they've, in their time, in their illustrious history, they've overcome many loud visiting crowds. But it'll be a lively, fun atmosphere on Friday night for sure.
Paul, it seems like Louisville at this point would want to request Friday night games. Is there any thought in your mind from the higher ups saying, hey, put these things on us because, number one, it gets you a better chance to be one of the 2 or 3 games on television. And of course, it adds that extra little bit of atmosphere.
Yeah, I don't think Louisville has ever requested them. I think they've been willing to accept those games. And, it's funny that you often hear that about the Thursday night game or the Friday night game. Everyone is watching, and because there are very few options, obviously, compared to a crowded Saturday. But the other side of that, to me, is sometimes after you play, and then you have this massive games on Saturday, all of a sudden they've forgotten all about you. So I don't know which one is better for the other. The fact is, play and play well when you can. And Louisville has done that most of the time this year. 2 losses, oddly, at home and both in overtime, in very similar fashion the way they lost the 2 games.
Paul, when you look at the year that Miller Moss is having, a guy who has seen multiple stops in college football, you've called every snap of this stop for him in Louisville. What do you think stands out about his game? Because, unfortunately, it seems like as a nation, we talked a lot about Miller Moss when he was in Southern Cal. Now that he's gone to Louisville, you don't see him talked about from the national standpoint quite as much in my mind. In your mind, though, what makes him special?
Well, unfortunately, my answer to that would be his inconsistency. Miller has been very good most of the time, but he almost every game just makes a very hurtful decision. And that's why he's thrown 7 interceptions this year, and 3 of them, in fact, have been run back for touchdowns. Wow. He throws a great ball. It's a vastly different system from what he played at Southern Cal. He never took a snap under center, I don't think, under Southern Cal. And they went purely with visual signals and a clap. He's had to learn how to get under center at times. He's learned how to call the play audibly, and their plays sound like a word salad. I mean, they make no sense to me if you've ever heard football plays called. And then he has had to learn to audible, and there's just been a lot mentally that I don't think he's totally gotten comfortable with. Physically, he has the tools, has a very lively arm, but he has had a hard time sometimes under pressure making the right throw or the right decision. But overall, I mean, 64%, 2,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. Oddly, he leads the team in rushing touchdowns. He's the least running quarterback Louisville's ever had, but he's had a couple of quarterback sneaks for touchdowns, a couple of scrambles for touchdowns, and that's kind of an unusual stat. He's not really normally a runner, but he's mobile enough when he has to be.
Well, he's definitely one of the most intelligent people that we have ever had a chance on this show to talk to, including yourself there, Paul. We talked to Miller at ACC kickoff, And man, he's one of those guys that just blows you away with just how intelligent he is. Let's talk about what Louisville likes to do pre-snap that might kind of give these Clemson linebackers and DBs some confusion, because obviously, Clemson is loaded with talent and they say half of these guys are going to go in the first round, but defense has not been the strong suit for Clemson this year. What does Louisville like to do that might give that struggling Clemson defense some fits?
Well, they'll motion some, but I don't think extraordinarily so. Just about everybody does that these days. What Louisville has shown the ability to do, not necessarily in the same game, is have a run-pass balance. Now, they don't run and pass for the same amount of yardage every game, but there have been games where they've run the ball very effectively with either Isaac Brown, who's still out with an injury, or Kewan Brown, who's played very well in his absence. And then there have been games where they have not run it well, and they've thrown it all over the place. So it's just the fact that Louisville's offense has shown the ability to do what they need to do. If the opponent is trying to stop something, Louisville has generally had the answer for it. Now, the offense really hasn't been quite as explosive as a Brom offense usually is. They've been in the 20s more than usual this year. They're still averaging 33, but some of that gets padded with some easy walkover wins early in the year. But I don't know that they throw anything at you that's that unusual for other teams, but they just have the ability to do what needs to be done, and they got two really good receivers too.
We're talking to Paul Rogers. He's the play-by-play voice of the Louisville Cardinals. Paul, when you look at Clemson last week, we can look at the entire sample size from 2025, but the most recent sample size, the Clemson defense that was able to get 6 sacks on Tommy Castellanos. I'm sure that's an area of concern because Diesel just mentioned, the guys up front who are projected to go, the Woods and the Parkers, projected to go early in the NFL draft. In your mind, would that be the number one area of concern, is figuring out how to not allow this Clemson defense to have their way again on the line of scrimmage like they did on Saturday?
Very much so. Louisville has not allowed an extraordinary number of sacks, 18. But Moss does struggle under pressure. You don't necessarily have to sack him. If you can just get him uncomfortable and get him to rush a little bit, that's where he is most likely to make that bad decision or bad throw. So that's very much the issue, I think, is protecting him and giving him time to throw. When he's given time, he's really good, very accurate, throws a great ball, very catchable ball. His receivers are capable and athletic. They can make those catches. So that'll be very important. I was impressed with the fact that actually since about the 1st of October, I know Clemson's been pretty good offensively, but they haven't been very Clemson-like defensively until, as you just mentioned last week. They looked pretty solid in that Florida State win.
Paul, I'm going to give you a little scenario, okay? Here, it's game day, 10 minutes before kickoff, and Jeff Brom and Brent Key are at the 50-yard line trying to have a don't smile contest. Who's going to crack first? Because we've had the opportunity to interview both of those guys and sit in front of both of those guys again at ACC kickoffs. Both very intense fellows. Who would be the most likely to crack first?
That's a good one. It's a little tricky for me to answer because I've known Jeff Brom essentially all his life. He grew up here in town. His family is a Louisville iconic family. And I probably have as good a relationship with Jeff as I've ever had with a football coach just because I go back so far with him. So while I know he's stern, I know he's demanding, I also know a softer side of Jeff, and I do see him smile from time to time. In fact, I just came from his office to record the pregame interview, and we were talking about a number of things. So I obviously don't know Brent Key as well. So I'm going to sort of plead ignorance on that. But if I had to bet, I'll say Jeff will give it first.
Paul, when you look at the ACC that you mentioned, it's a hot mess with teams in conference play at 5-1, 5-1, 5-1, 5-1. That's SMU, Pitt, Virginia, and Georgia Tech. Louisville and Duke in an interesting spot with Duke at 4-1, but 4 total losses on the season, 3 out of conference. Louisville, 2 losses, but the bad part about those 2 compared to a team like Duke, both of those 2 losses are in conference. When you've looked at the metrics and what is this hot mess of, I'm calling it the ACC, what are your actual thoughts on where Louisville can somehow find a path to winning the conference?
That's a tricky one. And as you just mentioned, it's so tough to sort out. And that's why Louisville it was such an agonizing defeat the other night. But, all the other 1-loss teams can say the same thing, or 2-loss teams, whoever it might be. I think the 2 losses is going to make it not mathematically impossible, but virtually impossible to make the championship game. And with the ACC's reputation faltering a little bit, I'm not sure you're going to get, if you take the 2 teams in the title game, the winner and the loser, I'm really not sure a third team is going to make it. Then again, I've never been a proponent for making it to the championship game and losing it and having that cost you a spot. So if that is the case, if the loser of the championship game doesn't get selected, then I think Louisville could have a fighting chance, assuming obviously they win out, which is no given. But if they do win out, they would have this win over Clemson. They would have what would be a very good road win at SMU. And then their last game, sort of like Clemson and South Carolina play, Louisville and Kentucky play every year. And as bad as Kentucky has been most of the year, they suddenly come around and are playing some pretty good ball. So if Louisville should win out, I think there's a scenario where maybe they could squeeze into the playoff picture, but it's going to be tough.
Paul, I'm sure this story is on a lot of people's radars where you are, but here it's kind of flown under. Tell us about this case of the 38-year-old man from Texas who just pled not guilty to making threats against Jeff Brom and his family.
I just found out about it actually on whatever night it was. My week is so messed up. We had a basketball game last night. We're playing football on Friday. I never know what day it is anymore this time of year. But I was on my way actually to do his radio show a couple of nights ago when this story broke. And I was just floored by it. I mean, I just don't know how people can get that carried away. I love college football. I know a lot of people love college football, but you draw the line somewhere. Come on, people. It is a sport. It's people's livelihood. Apparently, and I'm just kind of guessing, putting pieces together, this fellow must have been a gambler and lost some money. He was upset about it. And I don't know how you get to that point. I think it's unfortunate. I hope if he is found guilty, which I know he's pled not guilty, but if he is guilty, I hope they find some serious punishment. And I mean, I'd like to see him take his phone and computer away so he can never text, email, bet online, whatever. It's just, it's so far beyond what reasonable people should even think about doing. I hated hearing about it, just to put it that way. And it certainly caught all of us off guard.
Paul, going back to Clemson's defensive front, a lot of coaches will try to line up and just run right at them, right, in terms of offsetting what they do. Do you feel like the 2 Brown running backs, talking about Isaac and Keywan, not the color brown, but the 2 running backs who have totaled over 1,000 yards and 11 total touchdowns, maybe that could be a game plan to keep LSU's offense on the field and take a little pressure off of Miller Moss that you talked about sometimes does turn the ball over too much?
It could be. The offensive line has played pretty well overall, especially the last few games. And unfortunately, they're still going to be without Isaac Brown in this game, but Keywan Brown is very capable. His last 3 games, he's averaging over 100 yards a game since he's been filling in for Isaac. And Duke Watson, who's been injured as well, last year was once they started playing on even terms, once Watson and Brown both started playing the last part of last year, Duke was putting up numbers similar to Isaac, but he's been hammered by injury too. So anyway, Keywan's going to be the main running back, Duke probably the next guy. And if they can hold their own up front and open up a few little gaps for the running backs, that helps Miller Moss in the passing game tremendously, obviously.
Is there a drop-off from Isaac to Keywan in your mind?
Not really. Well, one thing, Isaac is just lightning fast. I've seen very few running backs with his just all-out speed. I've seen many defensive backs think they have the angle on him, and all of a sudden they don't.
Gotcha.
He has blinding speed. I don't think Keywan is quite that fast, but he's not slow, and he's maybe even a little bit more rugged than Isaac is. So you don't lose too much with him. He's been kind of the number 3 guy over the years, and his running backs coach, actually, a guy named Chris Barkley, calls him his security blanket. He loves having Isaac. He's a running back that I think could start at many places, but he's stuck it out here for 3 years, and he's getting his opportunity now. Keywan, that is.
Paul, talk to us about, Ron English and Mark Hagan's philosophy and maybe desire to be aggressive to stop the Clemson run, because, it's weird to say that Clemson doesn't have a running back that's averaging more than 5 yards a carry. Their best running back is a converted wide receiver. Second best running back is Young, and he might be a problem for Louisville in years to come, but we're not there yet. How aggressive are they going to be to try to load that box and stop the run against Adam Randall and Gideon Davidson?
I would think that would be a pretty high priority. Obviously, Cade Klubnik can be dangerous, and he has especially been here lately, the last few games. But I always think Louisville's first goal is to slow the running game. You can do so much when you've got the other team in a position where they have to throw. That's what happened in Miami. They jumped on Miami with 2 early touchdowns, and Miami just never really could get in the groove. And that's kind of what Louisville did, in fact, last year in the game at Clemson too. So if Louisville can get a quick score or 2, and the defense can limit the running game and keep Clemson at bay, I think that really works. So that's what the Cardinals like to see happen.
Paul, how do you see this one playing out, man?
Oh, golly, I should know better than to forecast. I mean, I do feel good. A couple of things. Obviously, Louisville being at home, being a Friday night. Louisville, and frankly, if you go back, Jeff Brum, over the years, his teams have shown a great knack of bouncing back from really hurtful losses. They'll lose a game and you just think, oh my gosh, that's just such a killer. And they'll come back. Last year, late in the season, they lost kind of an unexplainable game at Stanford, which probably cost them a shot at the championship. And they came back after that and just played lights out. So I kind of feel like that's going to be the response. I think that combined with maybe Miller finally honing in and cutting down on some bad decision making, which I know they really emphasized this week, and the combination of the Friday night home crowd, I would have to go with the Cards. These two have played some, if you look through the years, these teams have played a lot of close games. And Louisville never won until last year, but there were a lot of really close games. So I'll have to pick the Cards. I think it'll be in the low 30s, 31-28, something like that.
Paul, last question for you from me. I'm sure Jeff Brom's name has come up a lot of times for job opportunities in this carousel. Some coaches scoff at it, some kind of dance around it. I think Jeff Brom is absolutely perfect for Louisville, and I wouldn't want to see him go anywhere. But how has he responded to those questions, or do the reporters there in Louisville know not to ask him?
He's been asked, but he deflects it. But with you, I think he has no desire to go anywhere. He may someday, but right now he is back home. He left Purdue to come here. His family's still heavily involved. His brothers are involved. His son's involved. His father's involved. The Broms are Louisville, and it would take an awful lot to get him to leave here. If it came down to a money issue, he would say, put the money into NIL so I can get the best players. I've got enough. That's just the way Jeff operates. So I would be shocked if he seriously entertains any offer. But, I mean, don't take it the wrong way. He wants to be paid market value, and I think he'll get market value here. But I don't see him leaving for a $10 million job at Penn State or at LSU or whatever opens up. I think Jeff's pretty solid here. And frankly, I think people think that so much, not to undersell him, but it really hasn't been a big issue here. I think most people think that he thinks that way, and there hasn't been a lot of concern about, oh my gosh, are we going to lose another coach? Because every coach that has left here regretted it. And I think Jeff knows that.
Paul, great stuff, man. As always, very much appreciate your time. Have a great call on Friday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Looking forward to it. Thanks. Paul
Rogers, play-by-play voice. Really good stuff there when it comes to in-depth diesel with Louisville and Clemson just 2 days away.
Man, how nice must that be to have a winning coach and to know that he's probably not going anywhere, to have that kind of stability.
Yeah,
and a good feeling to have.
And a good basketball program, too. Like, I mean, Pat's done a good job, and I think that's a fun job up there in Louisville. It really is.
Yeah. When we come back, let's peek over the fence, see what else is going on out there in what we call our Daily Wires.
Upstate.
We've talked LSU football already. We've talked Louisville and Clemson. Now it's time to see what else is going on out there, Cole, in our Daily Wires. The buzz happening around the sports world. As just mentioned before, Brian Kelly's attorneys say that LSU has taken the position that it is not formally terminated Brian Kelly as the Tigers head football coach. The school is seeking to fire Kelly now for cause and potentially avoid paying the $54 million buyout that he is owed. So I guess he still works there in a way.
Yeah, and you know what else?
Too late to bring him back?
It doesn't look good. I don't know that it's going to end in a clean way. Either way, we were talking about it in the first segment. I think it's going to end messy, however it ends.
Well, Dallas Mavericks GM Nico Harrison has been fired. Messy. Yeah. The decision was made after a Tuesday morning meeting between Nico Harrison and team governor Patrick Dumont. He has made a series of wild decisions. So, yeah,
that is wild to me. I mean, we're not even talking about a year after the Anthony Davis trade with Luka. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know how the owner is not more involved to begin with, but it is what it is.
Jaguars rookie receiver and corner Travis Hunter will miss the remainder of the season after undergoing surgery on his right knee on Tuesday. He had the LCL ligament repaired in Dallas by Dr. Dan Cooper and Dr. Kevin Kaplan, who is the Jaguars' head team physician. There was no additional damage to the knee, and Hunter is expected to return to football activities within 6 months. So that's good.
I hate that, man, for Trevor Lawrence, who is always had a shaky career, a week-to-week career in Jacksonville Diesel. To have a weapon like that go down, done for the year, that's a big blow.
I think it's time for Trevor Lawrence to enter the portal.
Request a trade.
It's never going to get any better in Jacksonville.
Not in Jacksonville.
Not in Jacksonville. No. I mean, look, we are seeing a renaissance of several big-time players. You get out of your situation, you get coached up by somebody else, and maybe you can become what everybody thought you were supposed to be. A little programming note here for you. Friday night Burns football will air on our sister station, 98.9 WORD. The Fan Upstate going to be carrying Furman basketball.
Busy Friday night.
Yeah. Clemson men's basketball last night beat Morehead State 83-56. The Tigers are now 3-0. Wofford lost to Auburn last night 93-62. Terriers are 1-3 on the season. The South Carolina Gamecocks are back in action tonight, hosting the hottest football team in the state, PC, at 7 o'clock.
Hottest football team. Maybe they can have their football team play a little basketball, because I don't think that's going to end well, right?
Probably not. The New York Giants are expected to start quarterback Jameis Winston against the Packers on Sunday. The Giants are turning to Jameis over Russell Wilson after Jackson Dart suffered a concussion during Sunday's loss to the Bears. How does that make you feel if you're Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
You're getting passed over for Jameis.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's speaking of hot mess. I mean, that's a hot mess up there right now in New York.
Quarterback got by committee there in New York.
Well, especially with Brian Daboll just getting axed.
Philadelphia Eagles corner Jair Alexander has decided to step away from football in order to focus on getting right physically and mentally amid his ongoing recovery from offseason knee surgery. He informed the Eagles of his decision yesterday, a day after their victory over the Packers on Monday Night Football. He did not travel with the team to Green Bay for the game.
Wow.
North Carolina coach Bill Belichick says that he is focused on Wake Forest after questions about potential interest in the vacant New York Giants head coaching job.
Can we please put an end to this? I'm so sick. I want Bill Belichick just to retire. Yeah. Just go retire and have fun on the beach. I'm so sick of this.
Hey, Braves fans, you think you got the speed of an Olympian? You think you got the showmanship to flaunt it in front of 45,000 people every night? Well, you could be the next freeze runner for the Atlanta Braves. I don't think either one of us are going to get the job, Cole, but we can apply.
We could apply.
You look great in silver spandex.
Hey, boss, why aren't you coming in? Or, hey, man, why aren't you coming in? Well, boss, we're actually on the way to Atlanta to audition for Freeze's job. Thought you had to be fast for that, right?
Yeah, well, you just need to look fast. That's the thing.
That's right.
Two more for you. The family of late Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Nealon has raised suspicion about law enforcement in regarding his death. Marshawn's cousin expressed doubts about the circumstances surrounding his death, suggesting foul play. Marshawn died following a police chase and was found dead from an apparent suicide. And last one here for you. Former NFL star wide receiver Antonio Brown has been released on $25,000 bail and must wear a GPS ankle monitor on an attempted murder charge in Florida Brown, who's 37, pled not guilty to the charge, which carries a potential 15-year prison sentence and a fine of up to $10,000 if convicted.
Only Antonio Brown, right? Only
Why would they even
Antonio.
let him out at this
point? I know. It's unbelievable. Tolos, I'll tell you what, it is back. The Upset Picks Challenge opens in 5 minutes from right now. We are calling for 45 entries in the very first segment. I'm feeling good this week. Diesel, don't ask me how my team did last week, and I know you weren't here on Monday to brag, but it wasn't good, by the way.
That close.
I was that close.
I was that
close.
Iowa over Oregon.
I was that close. My team only lost by 34. So we're going to try this thing again, Tolos. Let's get ready. Find the game. We need your name, game, spread. The Upset Picks Challenge opens next.
You're listening to the Underground.
satisfying sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
Well, here they come at 844-326-3663. If you just tuned in and you're not sure what's happening, well, Tolos, it is 4 o'clock. And it's Wednesday, which means the Upset Picks Challenge is open. Get those games in as fast as you can at 844-326-3663. Diesel and I, we need your name, the game, and the spread. We don't want to hear the excuses about how you're not doing well in the challenge and you're trying to chase points. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. We need 45 entries in this very first segment of the show today. The Upset Picks Challenge is open, where we're looking for you, Tolos, to send in your name, your game, and the spread. If you have not played or participated in the challenge brought to you by Ingles Markets before, it's very simple. You're looking for an underdog this weekend to outright win the game, and if it hits, that amount of points gets added to a season-long tally, a rolling total, if you will. And on the text line, we need three things, Diesel: your name, the game, and the spread. Boomer Bill always provides a perfect example of what we need. He gets in, and this is an example of what you Tolos need to do. Boomer Bill, Oklahoma plus 5.5 over Alabama. That's his name, the game, and the spread. Let's light up the text line, 844-326-3663. Tolos, if you're listening to the show, yeah, we're talking to you. We need your upset pick right at this very minute.
So I think at the end of the season, Cole, we're going to need to bring on the winner of this challenge. It's coming. It's going to be Dave Mosley, right? He's whooping everybody, and we're going to need to break down his secret, because I have taken a tact usually of picking a game that's around 7 points. Maybe it's a point or two above. Maybe it's a point or two below. I like to pick home dogs that are plus 500 teams, right? So they're good enough to win more than they lose. They're a touchdown dog at home against, on paper, a better football team. And my strategy has not worked at all.
No.
You would think my strategy makes a lot of sense, but it's not winning me any games, which I'm still upset about the ending of that Oregon-Iowa game over the weekend. Everything that I thought was going to happen, low scoring, nasty weather, all of that came true. And it was a phenomenal football game right down to the very end. But, man, what a phenomenal finish in that one. So, Tolos, get us your games. Remember, there's still a long way to go in this challenge. Still, I didn't count before we started the segment, still at least like 8 or 9 weeks of games, because we have the remainder of the regular season. We have conference championship game week. We have Christmas bowls. We have post-Christmas bowls. We have first round of the college football playoff picks. So there's still a long way to go in this thing. You don't necessarily need to take one of these giant 20-point spreads, but somebody's got to hit on one of these. Somebody's going to, and it could be you. And then maybe your strategy changes from that point forward. I'm almost at that point, Cole, where I feel like I need to go Hail Mary, because I want to at least get in the top half of this thing, but I am right there on the edge. I think I've got 1.5 points. I am right there on the edge of falling off the leaderboard entirely, while my wife, who doesn't even watch football, is in third friggin' place.
It's frustrating. That's why going back to my point last week, I think you have to pick without looking at the leaderboard. I think the best way to do it, and I'm serious, the best way to do it is just go in every week and say, okay, which one of these do I think? Not like, hey, I'm going to try to chase. Hey, I'm going to try to get on the left side. You've got to just go in and figure out which game you think is going to or has the best probability of hit. Now, it's still a lot of luck involved. It's still very difficult to do.
It's all luck.
What
are you talking about?
Well, I'd say it's, if I had to put a number on it, I'd say it's 90% luck and 10% skill. 15. Okay, we'll stop there.
I'm reading this text. Okay, Eminem.
Percy, are you reading Percy's text?
Yeah, I'm reading Percy's.
Percy says, Cole, what game interests you? Then I'll pick. Percy, where are you at in the standings? Is Percy?
Where is Percy? I'm going to find him.
You find Percy.
Percy's in 10th place.
Wow. So
didn't take long.
Percy, it doesn't matter what you pick. You're already in 10th. It's going to be you've got a good shot to finish top 10 when the season's all said and done. So Tolos, if you're out there listening, look, we need you. We need your picks. We really do. 844-326-3663. When this challenge opened in August, it was like the floodgates every single segment of the show. But unfortunately, some of you Tolos get down on yourself because you hadn't hit, so you think, oh, I'm not going to play. Well, there's no quitters in this show. We don't quit around here, okay? So Diesel and I, hey, we both suck. We hadn't quit. So you suck. You don't quit. Very simple. 844-326-3663. Get them in. Let's go.
I just beg the question. Did you stop asking girls out on dates because the first 4 or 5 told you no?
Right. No, you didn't.
You stayed on that horse. You kept going after it, and some of you got a wife.
Here's the deal. I'm not
you.
ending this segment. I'm not ending this segment until we get 45.
Oh, God.
I'm not doing it. We're
filibuster. Here we go.
We're going to get 45 freaking entries. If we don't, I promise you, I'm not going to do it. We're not going to. This segment will go on forever until I want 45 in one segment. Let's break this thing open.
Jeff Mack getting in, taking Pittsburgh plus 12.5. Jeff, do us a favor. Resend your pick with the full game. We need the full game. So Jeff Mack, Pittsburgh plus 12.5 against, well, it's Notre Dame. I know that it's Notre Dame, but make sure you send us the whole game. That helps us avoid any possible confusion because some people will just send in like OU plus something, which could be Oregon, could be Oklahoma. Make sure you send us the full game when you send yours in. G, taking Oklahoma plus 5.5 over Alabama. Let's get Dewey on the line. We're all going to have to ask Dewey how he's doing it because Dewey is in 8th place with 39 points. How are you doing it, Dewey?
Yeah, I just know Miami sucks and Florida State sucks. And
just pick against them?
It's not a bad theory, actually.
Yeah.
It's really not a bad theory.
And those are the teams I picked. And then I went after Leprechaun Lyman, and I won that one too. So I go after my enemies.
So spite is your secret.
Yes. But I don't think Leprechaun's my enemy. He's just hooly-hoo.
He's just hooly-hoo. What's your
Dewey,
pick,
what's your
Dewey?
pick? Come on, what's your pick? We need your pick.
So after drinking and thinking, I was going to go with Louisville and Clemson, but the spread is too small, and that's just doesn't make sense to me. I'm swinging for the fences. I heard Shane Beamer talk about new things, so I'm going with South Carolina over Texas A&M. I think it's 18.5 to 19.
That's a big
Dewey,
spread.
that's not going to hit.
That's a
It's
big
going to
spread.
hit.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
If it.
Thanks, Dewey. Appreciate you.
That was the worst he ever gave.
That was weak.
Sounded like he was
Weak
falling asleep
sauce.
when he gave it.
Let's see. Hurricane Jeff says, as usual, Dewey sucks.
He does.
Wow.
He does.
So Dewey saying everything sucks, and then we got Hurricane Jeff saying Dewey sucks. That's interesting. Jeff Mack, there you go. Appreciate you getting your upset pick in all the way. I'm looking at a couple of different games, Cole. Maybe you can help talk me out of a couple of these. I don't know which one yet is going to be my choice. I'm looking at Troy plus 10.5 over Old Dominion. Troy's on a run. They've won 4 of their last 5, and Old Dominion's been a little shaky. I'm also looking at South Florida at Navy plus 9.5 because I just got a feeling with South Florida sort of being that at the moment darling for the playoff spot, there's a chance they might stumble, and Navy's a pretty good football team. They're not bad. So, and they're at home. They're home dogs. I'm looking at Arizona plus 6.5 on the road at Cincinnati. Arizona usually blows teams out. They put up a lot of points, and they've lost a couple of close games. So you just look at that record. It's maybe a little bit deceiving, but the games that they're losing, they're right there in the thick of those games. So I'm looking at Arizona plus 6.5. Plus, I don't trust Scott Satterfield not to get conservative when it really, really matters. And Noah Fafita, he's amazing. And lastly, Cole, I'm looking at Penn State at Michigan State plus 7.5. Both of these teams combined are 0-12 in Big Ten play. Somebody's got to win this game, and Penn State as a program is in shambles. So why not Michigan State getting the win?
Sounds good until they kick off, right? It's like betting. It's a good bet until it kicks off. Diesel. I mean, it's good. All of them are good until they kick off. I'm telling you, you take them all. By the way, G, let us know. I think Gordon and G are the same person. We think so. Let us know if that's the same one. It came from the same number, so we're expecting Jeff Mack, Hurricane Jeff. Oh, a lot of Tolos now getting in on the text line.
Texter didn't sign his text, and that's probably smart. It says, does he spell his name Dewey, Dewey, or DUI?
It's a good point. Good point. Let's go to the phone lines where Dalvin wants to get his upset pick in. What's up, Dalvin?
What's up, guys?
What's your name?
Give me Louisiana Tech plus 8.5 over Washington State. I saw this Washington State team lose to Oregon State, so that's my pick.
Interesting.
All right, Devin. Let me ask you this. On another note, Cowboys had a bye last week. They're 3-5-1 now. I mean, is there any hope for our Cowboys, Devin?
If we can get, hopefully these new Quentin Williams and Wilson can help our defense out, and anything's possible.
Please don't do this to me, Dalvin. Don't get my hopes up.
Hey, Cole, I'm not trying to get you hold up, but we got our own out there tomorrow, man. Don't give up on us Cowboys.
Dalvin's Cowboy impression or Jerry Jones impression is my favorite thing. Thanks, Dalvin. Appreciate you, Dalvin. Let's see. What was Dalvin's again, Diesel? Do you have it written down?
Dalvin took Louisiana Tech over Washington State.
Louisiana Tech, Washington State. Oh, okay. To be honest with you, I still don't know mine. I've got 3 or 4 that I'm looking at. I guess I'm going to do like Percy and just wait until, everybody else. The only time I've actually hit on this thing is when I have waited until Thursday. So maybe Thursday's my lucky day, Diesel. But Tolos, if you just tuned in at 4:11 on this Wednesday afternoon, we need your upset pick. I've already told you, Tolos, just a few minutes ago, I'm not ending the segment. I'm sorry, Jack Veltri, whoever else we have coming up. Sorry. Commercial break. Not doing it. We're not ending the segment until we hit 40. What did I say?
45.
45. I know it's a high number, but you, Tolos, have gotten slack with your entries, and it's really ticked me off, okay? You got to get better at this. Diesel and I get paid for I'm kidding. We don't get paid per entry. It's a joke. But we want to see all of you Tolos in the challenge. So,
Cole, would it be a smart move of me to take App State plus 20.5 on the road at James Madison?
No, James Madison's really good.
This is a Hail Mary. It's from the heart, not from the head.
No, don't do that.
They lose this game. App State will have lost to 3 of its key rivals this season.
Yeah, but they're not beating JMU.
They're probably not, but that's why it's 20.5 points.
They're good.
Think about this. They lose this game. App State loses this game. The sentiment on Dowell Loggins gets really dark in his first season.
Yeah, but then again, it's the best team in the conference.
Still, he will have lost to Coastal, Georgia Southern, James Madison, and with Marshall still to come.
Yeah.
If you go 0-4 against your rivals in the first season, it's hard to recover from that.
It's not good, but I don't think they're going to get rid of him after 1 year, are they?
You just know, you get a sense whether somebody is that guy.
I know.
In their first couple of games in their first season, you gotta kind of figure, okay, there's some really creative and cool plays that they're putting together. Maybe they don't have the players, the personnel for it yet, but I see what he's trying to do. Dowell Loggins, he doesn't seem like some offensive guru yet.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Guy wants to get in. What's up, Guy?
Hey, a couple of things. One, I pulled off the road just so I could do this.
Oh,
nice.
Also,
look at you being safe.
And well, I'm also trying not to get arrested. But one, can we go back to the beginning of the season when you put me on the line for how Dallas was going to do? How am I doing versus that?
What? Remind me. Hey, by the way, 2 things. Hold on. Again. I've got to go back and and give you a story in a second about not getting pulled over because of your phone in your hand. So, remind me about that. But what was what do we say?
At the beginning of the season, you made me predict Dallas's whole season.
Did I?
Yeah, because remember I made a comment about the Dallas Jets game, asking if anybody if that game actually had to be played. But I don't know. I don't remember what I said because again, I pulled off the road to do that too. But I was just wondering how I was doing versus what you put me on the spot for.
Yeah, I don't remember what you said. Now that you bring that up, I do remember we were doing our preseason predictions. Is what it was. So I do remember.
And I'm an Eagles fan.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let me tell you this. Did I think we were going to win the Super Bowl? No, but I have been disappointed. It's been a pretty bad year defensively. Matt Eberflus. I wish he was already fired, Guy. Let me tell you this real quick on the phone in your hand thing. Have you seen Diesel as well? Guy, Diesel, Tolos, have you seen the new law where you'll get pulled over if they see you with the phone in your hand? Have you seen that?
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
It's new, right,
Yeah,
Guy?
yeah.
You seen that?
Yes, but also understand at work I have to use a scanner. So when I'm passing by with them, and I'm going to get pulled over one way or another. But what the heck? I'll just tell them I'm the one who picks.
Well,
Rutgers
let me
every
tell you
week and
this.
Let me go.
Let me tell you. Yeah, tell me first of all, tell them you're a Tolo. You'll be fine, right? I'm kidding.
Yeah, they'll
Okay,
give themselves a ticket out of shame.
Hey guys, second of all, that new law and I don't know how long it's been in effect now. That new law, they're actually enforcing it. Hey, they're enforcing it, Guy. You know why?
Wait, they're getting tickets or what?
Well, let me tell you. Monday night, I pulled out and it's dark because it gets dark at like 1:30 now, right? I was pulling out of my gas station that's literally the Sphinx right where I live, and I guess I had my phone in my hand. And just so happened a cop from another car down the road saw my phone. I don't know how. Saw I guess the light.
Colby, how could you do such a thing?
He pulled me over. It was the coldest night of the year. I remember it was like 24 degrees, whatever, Monday. So he pulls me over. I've got the window down. It's freezing cold. And he says, hey, I saw your phone in your hand. It's this new law. Went into effect, blah, blah, blah. Goes to the car. I give him license insurance. Comes back and says, hey, we can't, to your point, Guy, it's a grace period. We can't write tickets yet. So I have to give you an education on this. And I'm sitting there thinking, it is 27 degrees. Could you not pick another night to educate me on not having my phone in my hand? Send me a video to watch or something. God. So, y'all, I'm not kidding. Diesel, Guy, for 3 minutes and 27-degree weather, I got a lecture from the very nice officer who I hope's not listening, because if you are, I love you and appreciate the warning. But I'm like, can we do this another? It is 27 degrees. So for all the Tolos out there, here's my message to you. Don't have your phone in your hand because they're enforcing it.
Wow. I didn't know this. I didn't know South Carolina State Patrol enforced anything.
Yeah. Believe it or not. Can you believe that, Guy?
Well, yeah, but if you're on your phone going through a red light, you'll probably get away.
There you go.
Got him.
You didn't by any chance have like a Dallas Cowboys bumper sticker on the back of your car, did you?
No, Guy. Are you a cop? Are you a cop, Guy?
Cowboy butts drive me nuts.
Are you the one that pulled me over, Guy?
No, but while you're at it, imagine the officer having to do that all night when it's 24 degrees.
Well, let me tell you something, Guy. Hey, here's a news flash. If you're not writing tickets, don't pull people over. I'm not getting out in 27-degree weather to educate somebody on holding their phone while they're driving.
But he took your license, you said.
Yeah, he did.
So you're on record.
Yeah.
For the next time.
Oh, that's true.
Texter is calling you out here, Cole. Texter says, Cole, I was riding next to you after the Carolina-Bama game on 26, and I know for a fact you stay
that's
on
not
your
true.
phone
There's
while
just
driving.
no way that. Who
Officers,
is that?
He is at 25 Garlington Road in Greenville.
Who is
Come
that,
and get
Diesel?
his ass.
Who
I don't know.
Did they put the name?
They didn't put a name on it.
There's no way. There's no way that. First of all, you don't know that you were. That's not true. Thanks for the call, Guy.
Thanks, Guy.
That texter.
Guy, you got to get your.
Sorry, Guy. Sorry.
Thank you.
We got sidetracked. I'm sorry.
Iowa +6 over the USC.
Okay.
I like it.
I like it. Good
Thanks,
pick, Guy.
Guy.
Thanks, man.
That is, for the record, that 803, he's lying. She. You did not. Nobody rode next to me the whole time on 26 for the Carolina-Bama game.
He called you out. He called you
what
out.
What did he say?
He said you were driving a specific vehicle. A specific vehicle.
All right. Time to get a break.
Cole, you haven't made your upset pick yet.
I'm not going to.
Another Tolo said, Cole, if you make your pick, you only need 44 picks.
That's true. I'm going to get mine in at some point, either today or tomorrow. I really like all my strategies. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything and I can't get one to hit. I think I'm going to go low this week, so I will get my upset pick in very, very soon, Diesel. I promise.
When we come back, let's talk South Carolina as they go on the road to face Texas A&M. A couple of Tolos are picking that game. Let's get Jack's thoughts on it when we come back on the Fan Upstate. Well, the season, whether or not it's a complete and total waste, hangs by a thread, Cole. 3 games left. South Carolina's got to win them all to make a bowl. To talk about it and their chances to maybe shock the world on the road at Texas A&M this weekend, we talked to Jack Veltri of Gamecock Central. Jack, would you say that my characterization of the season is accurate? Would you say that whether or not it's a total failure hangs by a thread right now?
I would say so, guys, and thanks for having me on as always. Yeah, I would say so. If they don't make a bowl game, I think that's an automatic failure right there. Don't care what you do the rest of the season against Coastal Carolina and Clemson. Wins in those games only gets you to 5 wins. And, I know a lot of people care about the Clemson game around here, and I think that lightens the word failure a little bit. But in my opinion, you don't make a bowl game after what you did last season, beating Clemson or not, it's a failure in basically every respect.
Jack Veltri, Gamecock Central. Jack normally joins us on Tuesdays, but with yesterday being Veterans Day, gracious enough to join us on this Wednesday. Jack, when you look at this matchup, man, Texas A&M, I mean, you're talking about one of the best teams in the country, and unfortunately, it seems like the Gamecocks have played one of the better teams in the country for 5 weeks now. Do you think the Gamecocks have learned anything in this 5-game stretch against really quality opponents that can help them be a little bit better against another really good team in A&M on Saturday?
I think the one thing, Cole, that they probably have learned is that they're it's going to sound crazy, but they're not that far off from, I think, being in the middle and winning some of these games. Here's the reason I say that. A lot of these games that South Carolina's lost in this stretch, you look at it, they're right in it going into the fourth quarter. I mean, for all the criticism that Shane Beamer's gotten about the season, one thing he has not been wrong about is the fact that they're in the middle of these games going into the final 15 minutes. The problem is they just can't finish. They get in their own way, or they just don't play well to end the game. And that's what's kind of holding them back from making a bowl game right now. Is they had a 2-point lead at Missouri in the fourth quarter. They were only down by a touchdown to LSU. They were up going into the fourth quarter against Alabama. Like, they have had a lot of chances to win games. The problem is they just cannot finish for the life of them. And that's something that I think will kind of get figured out in these final 3 games. Of course, that's why you made a change with the play caller to have Mike Furry call plays in hopes that the offense can finally get it going now that Mike Shula is no longer calling plays. But easier said than done.
So, Jack, now that the Gamecocks have had a week off leading into this A&M game, what are you hearing out of practice? What do you think? Is it a new look offense, or is it more of a back to the basics, get back to trying to figure out what we're good at as an offense?
So the vibe, what we've heard from the players in Beamer, and as well as just the vibe overall, is that Mike Furry brings a different energy to the offense, in that he's just a guy that is a very energetic person. And I've seen him a few times at practice back in fall camp and even at the Citrus Bowl last year. This guy is a different animal. And I think that will hopefully rub off on these players in the way that he's just going about his business, trying to, he's very much like Sean Elliott in a lot of ways, I would say. So I think that's the main thing, but they're also tweaking the playbook a little bit, is what Shane Beamer had to say earlier this week on Tuesday. And what that will look like is to be determined on Saturday. We'll know more once we're there, seeing the team play in person. But it seems like they're definitely committed to trying their best to salvage the season, and that does start with trying to fix what you can with this offense.
Jack, it's interesting, and I want to get your thoughts on Mike Furry. There was an interesting statement made in Shane Beamer's presser yesterday, and we're going to get to some audio from Shane Beamer a little bit later in the show, but I don't know who it was. Somebody asked Beamer if he would rule out, maybe it was you, maybe it was somebody else, rule out Furry being the OC going forward. And look, I want to hear your thoughts, but I think we're too far past that, in my opinion, just in terms of Beamer's seat being a little too hot for him to make another maybe it works kind of move. What are your thoughts on, even if Mike Furry does well down the stretch, him potentially being the new OC?
So I was the one to ask him that question about, basically my question was, what would it take for Mike Furry to really be considered in this OC hiring process? Because let's be honest, guys, as of right now, I would probably wager to guess they're going to go outside the building to go find their next offensive coordinator, whether it's a guy with NFL experience, whether it's a college guy, wherever you want to look. I think they're ultimately going to go outside the building. That said, it is worth asking the question, what happens essentially if Mike Furry does really well in these final 3 games and the offense looks like a complete 180 compared to everything that happened earlier this season under Mike Shula? It's a fair question to ask, and basically what Shane said, he's open to anything. He wouldn't rule anything out as far as what his decision-making will be in this process. My thing is, though, I don't know if you're Shane Beamer, I don't know if you can hinge everything going into next year on, like, this OC hire is so important, guys. Like, South Carolina has to get this thing right in order to turn things around. Shane's going to be the coach here going into next season. If this does not work out, this OC hire does not go well, I wonder how much longer Shane would last in Columbia if things are kind of like this next year, right? I think you could realistically start talking about, like is South Carolina going to look at firing him? And a lot of that may come down to what this OC hire looks like. And I don't know if you can necessarily put it all on, let's go ahead and hire from within and just promote Mike Furry. He would have to look, this offense would have to look incredible over these final 3 weeks, I think, for that to actually be seriously considered.
Well, Jack, for what it's worth, I've had a Tolo Nick Steady in my inbox now for 2 weeks, at least 3 weeks, wanting Dowell Loggins back. And as far as I'm concerned, as an App State fan, you can have him. But we've discussed that already. It's not going to happen. And somebody who's just achieved their first head coaching position is not going to give that up to run right back to where he was prior to getting that job. There's been a lot of talk, and it's just silly internet buzz at this point about Lenora Sellers transferring after this season. I've seen so many people, Magic 8 Ball predicting Lenora Sellers is going to Miami. Could be absolutely nothing, but I guarantee Shane Beamer has heard it, or at least he's thought about it. But if you were Lenora Sellers and the draft grade is not where you want it to be, do you trust Shane Beamer enough to hire an OC to help you finish your career strong in Columbia?
I do. I do believe he's going to make the right decision hiring an OC. There's so much on the line with this hire, right? Like I said before, I mean, his job could very well be on the line if this hire does not go well, because I think we're going to see South Carolina really go all in to make sure this is the right hire. You pay whoever it is what you need to pay him to bring that guy in, whoever it will be, pro, college, whatever coordinator. You're going to do your best to make it happen. And I'm going to be interested to see. You mentioned Sellers. I'm going to be interested to see, because he's got some time to make a decision after the season ends, because the portal doesn't open up until January 2nd, and then in mid-January he'll have to make a decision on what he's doing with the NFL draft. I would be very interested to see if he does explore either of those opportunities. I feel like the best decision for him is just to come back. I think, depending on who they hire as an offensive coordinator, could be the ultimate difference maker in that. I think South Carolina's going to be quick and efficient with trying to get this hire done because of that decision right there. What is Lenora Sellers doing next year? I don't think he's going to be sitting here waiting around all day for South Carolina to make a decision on who they're hiring. So I think they're going to be quick and efficient and try to get the right guy. And that may ultimately be enough to sway a guy like Sellers, who came back to South Carolina last year when I'm sure he had offers right and left from other schools around the country to come back and stay loyal to his home state school.
Jack, would you predict that South Carolina makes this hire, gets the guy in place before January 2nd when the portal window opens?
Has to. It's not even so much in my opinion there. I think it's more so like they have to get that thing figured out before that. I mean, you would have it if the season ended after the Clemson game. You have over an entire month to get a hire figured out. And if you really if we're sitting here, I'm talking to you guys, January, whatever, late December, and they still haven't made a hire, I'll be stunned. I will be stunned if they don't make a hire by then.
Jack, what does Marcel do? What does Marcel Reed do when it comes to striking fear in this defense for South Carolina when you look at Saturday's matchup?
He's very much like Sellers in a lot of respects, of a guy that can beat you with his arm and legs. I think I was talking to somebody earlier about this. I think the best way to look at it is Marcel Reed is having the season that I think we all thought Lenore Sellers would have. Look at his passing numbers. Really good. Does not turn the ball over a ton. He's only been sacked 7 times this season, and he's also rushing the ball pretty effectively with nearly 400 yards and I think 6 touchdowns. So, like I said, having a really good year, the type of year as a dual threat quarterback that you would have thought Sellers would be having, and that has just not happened at all for Lenore's. But this is about Marcel. He has kind of been a huge part of why A&M is having the success that they're having. I think they've got it all figured out to where they've got the right pieces in place. They've got the quarterback. They've got a good run game. They have 2 of the best receivers in the SEC, if not the country. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how South Carolina approaches it this weekend, because they face a guy like Sellers every day in practice. But how does that translate over into games will be the question of, can you stop a guy like Reed?
Jack, it's easy to look at some of the big names on the team, Lenore Sellers, Nick Harbor, DQ Smith, guys like them, and say maybe some of them aren't exactly having the season that they would like to have. Is there a name or two on this roster that you think has actually had a much better season than you mentally projected before it started?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think Nick Harbor has been, I think, about what I hope for him. I think you would like to see a little bit more out of him. But at this point in the season, guys, he's your leading receiver, and he's making the most of his opportunities when they're there. Has he missed out on a few passes that he should have caught? Yes, I think so. But overall, I think he's done a nice job this season. I think he's someone that has definitely made progress. Another guy that maybe not necessarily in the tight end room has made a ton of impact this year, but I really do like what Maurice Brown has done this season. I asked Joe DiCamillo, South Carolina special teams coordinator, earlier today about who those guys are that he feels like has made a real big impact on special teams. And he said Mo Brown right off the bat. And if there were a special teams player of the year in the SEC, Joe D said that Mo Brown would probably be heavily considered for it. So he's made a ton of plays on special teams this year, and I think that kind of flies under the radar, but definitely another guy that I feel like has made a nice jump this year.
When you look at A&M, we talked about Marcel Reed, over 2,000 yards, 2,193 yards, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, only been sacked 7 times. In your mind, what else? We talk about the other guys a lot. Who are the other guys that you think for A&M could give South Carolina a little bit of a fit on Saturday?
I think you got to look at, this run game. I mean, definitely got to look at the run game with Le'Veon Moss being back this year. Definitely Casey Concepcion's another guy, and I'm trying to remember I'm pulling up the numbers here to get the other receiver's name right. Craver.
Yeah,
that's another
Mario.
Yes, Mario Craver. 2 really, really good players. But how about Cassius Howell? I mean, this guy is going to be really, really tough for South Carolina's offensive line to defend this weekend coming off the edge. Guys, 10.5 sacks this year with 21 tackles for Howell. Really, really staggering numbers, like Kyle Kennard level numbers. So that's someone that I think South Carolina is definitely going to have to keep a big eye on this weekend coming off the edge. But yeah, those would probably be the guys I would say are going to be really intriguing to watch.
Jack, we opened with this, and I know that you're on the you're obviously on the South Carolina beat, but what have been your general opinions on LSU trying to wiggle out of paying Brian Kelly and trying to argue that it was a for-cause firing?
I mean, what is the cause? That I don't get this one. I don't see it going in LSU's favor. What argument do they have? Like this is the buyout that they agreed to. This is what they were going to pay him, and the fact of the matter is Kelly just did not meet the expectations. It's not like he I mean, you can say what you will about some of the things that have gone on at LSU and what you hear and all that, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, if this is based on his performance, it just wasn't good enough. And, I think he should be paid what he's owed. I mean, if LSU does not have leverage in this. There's no argument to be made, in my opinion, and LSU needs to just pay him what I understand why Kelly's not settling for the reported $25-30 million when he clearly can be getting a lot more.
Well, Cole said, how much worse, worst case scenario, they got to pay him the $54 million. And I said, no, worst case scenarios, they got to pay him 54. And then they've got to pay probably a couple $1 million to a lawyer. And then Brian Kelly sues them for defamation by trying to put some sort of bogus for cause tag on his resume, which may not get him hired somewhere else in the future. And then they might have to pay him damages after that. It could get really bad for LSU.
It could get really bad. And I just don't think, when you look at the whole coaching carousel and what jobs are open, I know LSU is going to be a desirable job just off the name alone and the history there. But I'm going to be honest, guys, you look at the inner workings of what's going on there and this whole potential lawsuit that we have coming with BK and LSU, and the fact that they have a new AD, a new president. I mean, a lot of things are going on there, and I just don't know. Take out the name LSU, and this is probably the least desirable job right now, but
it's a good point.
It's going to be very desirable.
Jack, my last question for you. Your thoughts on Beamer's pushback to the media yesterday about the hires he's made at offensive coordinator and getting the hires wrong. He was very quick to push back on that. Your thoughts?
I'm not surprised that he's defending it. I mean, I get it, because there were some good things that his coordinators did in the past. I mean, he's not wrong. Marcus Satterfield, whether he was calling plays or not in that Tennessee game, South Carolina did score 63 points with him as the offensive coordinator. You look at Dow Loggins, he did some very good things. Now, here's the main thing that Beamer brought up yesterday. Were these guys consistent enough? No. And I think that's the problem, is that not enough consistency. And in the case of Mike Shula this year, the only thing consistent about this offense was that it was just bad. So you got to kind of figure out how you're going to be better moving forward. But, I mean, I get why he's defending his hires and whatnot, but the fact of the matter is he has leaned a lot into guys with NFL experience and hasn't really gotten a guy that is just a true college offensive coordinator. That has not been the case so far with these first three hires, and I do wonder if that's the case with this one.
Jack, we can't say thank you enough for your time every single week, and good luck this weekend calling the game. Are you headed to Texas A&M, or are you staying and watching on TV?
I will be there in Texas covering that game, so looking forward to it.
Thanks, Jack. Jack Veltri, Gamecock Central, really good stuff there. Again, you normally hear them on Tuesdays, but with us being off yesterday, you did hear them today. Tolos, before this next segment, I want 10 upset pick entries before we start the very next segment. 844-FAN phone, that's 844-326-3663. Diesel and I need your name, the game, and the spread. I do want to shout out and make sure he gets it in right next time, Diesel. In the very last segment, I did see Kevin get his upset pick in. I just wanted to make sure he got the formatting right there. He says, I'm taking App State to win. D-Lo can't keep losing, breaking the streak this week. Kevin, just make sure on your future text we need your name, the game, and the spread from Kevin Ramsey. Also see Young Gravy Nuts, Kane, Brandon and Spartanburg, Clemson 83. Why are you laughing?
How can you keep a straight face?
It is wild. Dustin M, Mickey G, keep them coming. I want 10 before we start the next segment, Diesel. I want 10. Simple as that. Do you know your role? I think this viral sensation of knowing your role for an upcoming holiday has got me maybe in the best spot I've ever been in terms of knowing your role. I'll have the audio for you next.
Bryson and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Well, Diesel, we see. I'm not sure why that's playing. Let me pull that down. Did I hit the wrong? No, I mean, it's an Ingles Market studio. Yes, we're live at the Ingles Market. Let's see if it keeps playing. No, it stopped. All right then. Anyways, that'll throw you for a loop. In sports, we talk about knowing your role, right? You've got to know your role. Basketball, football, whatever it is, you got to know your basketball players. If you're a point guard, you got to, know your role, especially on the football field as well. It's important. If you want to succeed, you got to know your role. It's a cliche. You hear coaches talk about it all the time, but it's true, right?
Well, it's the Rock's tagline. Know your role and shut your mouth.
That's right. You've got to know your role. And with Thanksgiving looming in the near future, Diesel, I am team. Let me find this comedian's name here. I never heard of him until today when I saw this video. But now all of a sudden, I am a big fan of Jalen Hinton because he goes on to talk about knowing your role. And Diesel, when it's sports, you got to know your role if you want to be successful. But also, with Thanksgiving around the corner, if you want to have a successful Thanksgiving, according to Jalen Hinton, you also have to know your role for that too.
They need to play their role at Thanksgiving. Just play your role. Somebody got to be the point guard, 2 guard, 3, 4. Somebody got to play center. Everybody can't start. Some of y'all is on the bench, and you're trying to do what starters do. You can't. Okay, if you know your job is to bring the plastic utensils, paper cups, paper plates, cases of soda, juice, and water, tea, do that. You do that real good. Don't nobody do that like you. You can't be like Grandmama and them, but bringing all the main dishes. That raisin casserole might have to wait. It might have to wait. Play your role. That's all I'm saying. Just play your role, man. Everybody has a role to play when it comes to Thanksgiving. If you know you can't cook like that, stop trying to bring stuff that you just stop. Just stop. Everybody play your role this year. Thanksgiving to go a whole lot smoother. Everybody just play your role.
Have truer words ever been spoken? Mm-hmm. I mean, come on, the raisin casserole, Diesel, that can wait. You know what kills me is somebody always, I tried this. No rest. No.
Do it.
Know your role on Thanksgiving. I love that audio. I think my man Jalen hit the nail on the head there. If you want to have a good Thanksgiving, you got to know your role. Maybe that's a hard conversation, but it's true, right?
You know what my role is, and I'm good at this? Bring the booze. Bring the booze.
See, there you go.
Mix up some cocktails.
Your role.
That's what I know I'm good at.
You're not making sweet potato souffle.
No.
My
dad smokes the turkey.
There you go.
My sister makes the deviled eggs.
Yeah.
She also makes the chipped beef big old cheese ball.
Yes,
and my wife's been messing around. She's like, I think I'm gonna bring a charcuterie tray.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Don't you do that. Like, number one, I think a charcuterie tray is delicious. I love charcuterie trays. But when you got the sister that's been making that chipped beef cheese ball for like the last 15 years,
you don't want to cause something.
You're going to cause something.
That's true.
And you don't want that smoke.
That's a good point.
You don't want that
smoke. The charcuterie board can wait till Christmas, F.U. Ashley. Wait until Christmas. Just wait, please.
Speaking of which, I misspoke earlier. I said she was in 3rd place. She's actually in 4th.
Oh,
so she's right there.
Thanks.
She's right there. She took the same game as me last week, Cole, watching that Iowa game versus Oregon. She's like, this is why I don't watch football. It's so stressful. I don't like this. I don't like this. And then she starts throwing out football vocabulary words. I'm like, I got her hooked.
I got her
hooked. She's coming in. When we come back, Cole, I haven't got a chance to react to this on these airwaves. You probably did on Monday, but ugly loss for the Carolina Panthers against the New Orleans Saints. Where do they go from here? That's next. Is it a little heavy-handed to use the word catastrophic when it comes to the Carolina Panthers' loss to the New Orleans Saints 17-7 on Sunday, Cole? Catastrophic in the sense that this team had me believing in them for a minute. Like, they had me thinking, all right, yeah, they're going to lose to the teams that they're supposed to lose to. But at least they've elevated to the point where they're not going to lose to the teams that they're not supposed to lose to. The New Orleans Saints absolutely sucked going into this game. Awful at just about everything. And somehow the Carolina Panthers, they get a penalty that keeps a drive alive to start the game, makes you think, oh, man, they're going to beat them by like 4 scores, and it's going to feel really great. And then they could do absolutely nothing for the remainder of the game. I feel like a broken record saying Bryce Young is not the guy, and there is no choice. But at the end of this season or next season, at the absolute latest, you've got to draft or trade for an actual serviceable quarterback because Bryce sucks.
I can't argue with that. I can't disagree with that. And what was the word you used, the adjective?
Catastrophic.
Catastrophic is accurate because it's not like they're just bad, and there's no hope. You see the signs of life. In fact, anytime Diesel, we talk about the Carolina Panthers on this station, we are now required to play this in the background. Have you not heard this, by the way? Have you not heard the new you didn't get the email?
No, I hadn't heard this.
Yeah, anytime you talk about the Panthers, this must be in the background because it is so sad when you talk about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. It's embarrassing. You use the word catastrophic.
Yeah.
Not because they're bad, because bad teams that are bad, guess what? They expect to be bad. They know that life's not going to get any better. You know, the down dog's already been kicked enough. But Diesel, with this team, they show signs of life. And the reality of it, to use a line from Rick and Greer, who we love hearing from, the midget just is not getting it done.
Yeah.
That Saints team is bad.
How many people do you think who actually know a little bit about football and aren't just like fans from a far distance, how many people in Charlotte would I have to talk to ask to find somebody who genuinely believes that Bryce Young is the quarterback of the future for the Carolina Panthers?
I don't know how many. You're saying how many do you have to get through?
Yeah.
I'd say you'd have to probably ask 15 to find one. For every 15, you might find one, maybe 20. But the reality is, and I'm joking when I, play the Arms of the Angel music, but it is sad. It's just like this Carolina Panthers team, man, you look at what they were able to do. Hey, you know what the key to winning games in the NFL is? Playing good defense and running the ball. The past few weeks, the Panthers were playing good defense, Diesel, and they were running the ball. And then they have this bad New Orleans Saints team coming to town. Oh, which, by the way, the game's at your house, in your stadium, and you are coming off of, 2 or 3 really good wins. Bryce Young's been playing better, not magnificent, and you just put that performance on the field. I'm not a Panther fan, but I'll tell you this. I'm disgusted by what I saw. That was just pathetic. That looks like the Carolina Panthers we all knew, but we just didn't want to admit we were going to see them again this season.
Past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. And I've said it how many times that Bryce Young is good for 1 score and getting into field goal range maybe 1 or 2 times on top of that. Generally speaking, that's what he's good for. Yeah, there's a game where he's somehow found a way to throw a second touchdown.
And more than 200 yards.
And more than 200 yards. But yeah, he is good. This is Bryce Young to a T. And I'm not even looking at his stats, Cole. I'd be willing to get bet here. If you go on ESPN.com, look at Bryce Young's career stats. He is good for 1.5 touchdowns a game, generally less. He is good for getting them in field goal range 2 times. He is good for 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions a game. I'd be willing to bet that is his average.
Well,
195 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
Unfortunately, Diesel, on Sunday, he wasn't good in the 17-7 loss. 124 yards, no touchdowns, an interception. Do you know what Bryce Young's QBR was on Sunday? Do you have any
12.
idea? Try 13.2. 13.2. So to answer your question, I mean, he's not been good. In his career, he's now played 39 games, Diesel, and he's on average right at 60% of a completion percentage in his career. He's thrown 37 touchdowns, 26 interceptions. Bryce Young's not the guy. And the reason for me that it's so frustrating is because, Diesel, you've tasted some of this good fruit. You've tasted what the good life's like a little bit. But then, unfortunately, you have to go back and be reminded that, guess what? The bottom line is your quarterback is not elevating your football team, period.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that's the literal thought that was in my brain. Great quarterbacks elevate the players around them. Could you imagine the stats that Ted McMillan would have already this season as a rookie if he had Dak Prescott
or Tampa Bay,
Yeah. Could you imagine maybe Xavier Legette would look like a good wide receiver in the NFL if he actually had a competent quarterback. And I'm not talking about 72-year-old Andy Dalton when he trots out there once or twice a season. By the way, I looked it up. What is Bryce Young's average or per game average in some key statistics?
Oh boy.
He is averaging 175.5 yards per game. That's over 38 games, by the way.
Okay.
175.
Okay.
0.97 touchdowns and 0.66 interceptions. So he is averaging over half a pick. He is averaging just shy of one touchdown per game. That's pathetic.
It's not good.
Pathetic. And until Dave Canales and Dan Morgan can finally put it in Dave Tepper's mind, hey, you made a bad decision. You saddled us with this guy. You've got to let us move on from him. They're never going to get any better.
No. Here's the reality of it. Do you feel like if you're Dan Morgan, who, in my opinion, Diesel, has done a good job with this organization.
Great job.
I think Dan Morgan's done a good job. I think Dan Morgan is the guy like that you want making front office decisions. However, when you hear those stats and you look at like the eye test, you can look at other situations and other metrics, and I'm sure Dave Canales will be quick to give you other stats and other situations and qualities as to why Bryce Young's a good leader. And Dave Canales is like super positive all the time. His dog could die, and it's like, but the good thing is, man, it's just like super positive all the time. Here's the reality of it. Not only, Diesel, am I over Bryce Young, I'm already over Dave Canales.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm over Dave Canales.
Oh.
They're 5-5. You say, Cole, you're an idiot. Dave Canales has taken them to 5 wins this year. They weren't supposed to be there. Dave Canales is nothing more than a bridge head coach. Bryce Young is nothing more than a bridge quarterback, period. Am I hitting the panic button too early on Dave Canales? Maybe so, but Diesel, I'll tell you this. I believe that I will be correct in saying that when you fast forward years from now down the road, you'll look back and say, Dave Canales was a good coach. Bryce Young was a good, decent quarterback, sometimes below it, but neither one of them were the answer to get Carolina back to where they needed to be. They're nothing more than a bridge coach and a bridge quarterback. That's what they are.
It's interesting. I think you got to give Dave Canales a year or two with a different quarterback just to be sure, because obviously you don't want him to go off somewhere else and find success as a young coach. But you look at Matt Rule's tenure. Matt Rule was saddled with Baker Mayfield, and Baker sucked in Carolina. But somehow he goes off to Tampa, where he spends time with Canales, by the way.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Baker's a great quarterback. So that
That's
to
fair.
me says, all right, you had a quality player in Baker Mayfield. It's not like Baker was just great in college, sucked for a while, and it took him to get to Tampa to get good again. Like he forgot how to play football there for a while. It was coaching. And to me, I think that says a lot about Matt Rule as a head coach. It says a lot about Dave Canales, or says some about Dave Canales to be able to rejuvenate Baker Mayfield's career. But then it also says, if you got a guy that could rejuvenate Baker Mayfield, who was bad at 2 stops prior to being with you, and you can't rejuvenate Bryce Young in any measurable way,
well,
Bryce is not the guy.
I'll tell you this, to your point, I'm with you on Dave Canales giving him time. I'm fine with giving the guy time. However, here's where I will kind of push back. Part of Dave Canales' job is to meet and have conversations with Dan Morgan and say, you know what, Dan, behind closed doors, just him and, Dave and Dan, just like you and I are in this room. Yeah, Bryce isn't the guy. Yeah, we're going to need to go. We're going to need to go in the next year or so in a different direction, because here's why. The NFL, we all know Diesel stands for what? Not for long. You see it with any coach. You see it with players, the shelf life, yada, yada, yada. Ask Brian Daboll, right? Ask all these different coaches. Dave Canales, he's coaching for his job. I don't care how much improved they are. Like, the Panthers stink. The organization stinks. They're not going to settle for stinking for forever. So they will eventually fire Dave Canales because he's not good enough. So if you're Dave Canales, my point is, like, if you're hosting a radio show and you're not given quality equipment, right, you're going to be in your boss's office saying, hey, man, I need some quality stuff to do this. Like, Dave Canales should be in Dan Morgan's office today saying, Dan, I love Bryce. I say all the right things about Bryce in these press conferences where I'm like ultra positive 24/7. But the reality is I need a new toy. If you want me to turn this ship around, if you want me to bring Carolina back to life, you've got to give me a competent quarterback, because, and to your point, I'd love to hear an argument against it. He's just not giving us anything that makes us believe he's the guy right now.
So here's what I think should happen. Here would be my dream scenario. It's a dream scenario, but it's also based in some realism. Because, right, you're not going to get an elite starting quarterback off of another roster in the NFL. You're not going to get him to Carolina. So I think what needs to happen, and this would be my hope, would be that somehow the Carolina Panthers can pull Trevor Lawrence off of Jacksonville's roster. Get him into a new situation. We've seen, the renaissance of quarterbacks that get a second chance with a different OC, with a different head coach, etc. You got somebody that has the physical tools and is a big guy, the prototypical type of quarterback that you want in the NFL. Yeah. Get him in, give it a shot, especially if you don't think that the quarterbacks coming out of the draft this year, quarterback draft is going to be an absolute bust. It's not going to be good. Next year, we'll see. Don't really know how they're all going to perform. But unless you're saying, Dave, we need you to save your job with a rookie quarterback that we're going to draft, and, oh, yeah, Bryce is probably still going to be on the roster too, that's a tough position to put somebody in. So I would say do what you can to try to get Trevor Lawrence, because you're not, you're not getting Michael Penix out of Atlanta. You're not getting CJ Stroud. You're not going to be able to pull Matthew Stafford off his roster. You're not going to be able to pull Kyler Murray or any of the other starters that you would want. You're not getting Lamar Jackson out of Baltimore. It's not happening. So somebody that is attainable and would give Dave Canales an opportunity with a completely different style of quarterback, that's the last shot for Dave Canales. If that doesn't work, fine. Go ahead and change head coach and quarterback and change everything again.
Texter says, how do you explain Young's college success with better teammates around him relative to competition against his pro results, and not think his lack of pro success is at least in large part due to the lack of talent around them?
It's a better team around him. When you're at Alabama, you have the best of everything in front of you.
And the reality of it is, Texter, Bama's not the NFL. I'm sorry, it's not. I don't care how big the offensive linemen are and how good the play caller is and how good the skill position guys are. Bama's not the NFL. It is a different animal. It's hard to compare Bryce in college to the NFL, because you go back and you can find a million players who were really good in college but weren't good in the NFL. It's a different game. It doesn't matter how talented of a roster he had then, or how. The fact of the matter is, the eye test at some point is enough to tell you this guy just doesn't have the intangibles. Well, did he at the college level? Maybe. At this level, we've seen nothing that shows us that he's got the intangibles at this level.
I mean, he had future NFL center, guard, tackles, tight ends, running backs, everybody around him. He had elite wide receivers around him. And this is the NFL. You can say, well, why don't you just put better talent around him? Well, you can change one or two guys, but you can't change everybody. And you can't set it up so that all of a sudden Bryce Young is playing on the Bills or he's playing on the Chiefs a couple of years ago, where they did have the best of everything. That's not realistic. That's not how things work in the NFL. You're not going to replace an all-pro center with another all-pro center. You got to take a step back, rebuild that guy back up. The path of least resistance, the only path in the NFL, is you trade the one guy that's not getting it done instead of trading the other 10 guys on offense who aren't getting it done.
Yeah, and another fact of the matter, Diesel, is when you talk about progressing, you can progress in college football. You can get better in college football, but progressing and getting better and developing as a player in the NFL is just a different beast. It is a different beast. Having to understand the offenses and then having to understand the defenses that you're facing every week, week in and week out in the NFL, it is a different beast in the NFL, man. And Dale, we lost you. We'd love to hear back from you at 844-FAN-PHONE.
And Dewey on the stream coming in with some logic here, which didn't look for that coming out of Dewey. He says Tim Tebow won the Heisman. Tim Tebow was amazing in college football. Terrible in the NFL. Terrible. So there is precedent for a guy being great. There's all kinds of precedent, okay, for guys being great in college. Even in the SEC, the closest analogy that you have to the NFL, but to your point, yes, it's still miles away from the NFL.
Miles away. It's just a different game. And I think that's the biggest thing a lot of people don't understand is they think, oh, well, a good college quarterback should be able to do the same thing in the NFL when it comes to development and progressing as a quarterback. Like it's almost a different sport. I know they're still playing, they're still trying to get touchdowns. They're still trying to kick field goals, yada, yada, yada. But it is a different sport. And if you understand that it's a different sport and it's an entire new level in terms of unlocking your potential, it's easier to unlock your potential at the college level than it is against these professional athletes.
That's like saying, how come a quarterback was great in high school, but he's, terrible in college? Because it's a completely different game.
Dale, by the way, we lost you, man. 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-6663. If you want to get back in, you can. Bonefish Girl getting her upset pick in. Keith and TR getting his upset pick in. Texter says it seems easier to replace multiple players around Price as well as cheaper than Hope. Then you get a superstar quarterback for Trevor Lawrence, suddenly becomes good in the pros. And RJ also says, on the subject of Carolina trading with Jacksonville, imagine how good a backfield Dowdle and ETN would be for the Panthers. I know it's wishful thinking. I go back to this. You can team build all you want. You can put the best receivers, the best running backs around Bryce Young and continue to try to build this mountain and build this puzzle for as long as you want to. But at some point, you've got to have the honest conversation, Diesel, and say, look, is Bryce Young the guy or is he not the guy? That's just the honest conversation you have to have. Look, and I don't know that they have.
I'm not saying that Bryce is a bum human being and that he doesn't deserve another chance on another team, because Trey in Kentucky brings this up. He says, explain the success of Sam Darnold after Carolina, Baker Mayfield after Carolina. You could say it's Carolina, but Trey, it's a new coaching staff. It's everything new.
Well, how often do we say situation in the NFL and where you land matters?
Yeah.
Coaching, personnel, offensive philosophies, offensive schemes.
Sometimes hype just gets a hold of these guys and they say, well, we got to take them before somebody else does. And the hype is why Dave Tepper stepped in and said, we got to take Bryce Young over CJ. That and CJ is really bad Wonderlic test.
And I still think they made the wrong decision. I'm sorry, but I just don't believe. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one day I'm wrong. I don't think Bryce Young's the guy. But I can tell you who the guy is, Diesel. It's Bill Bender of The Sporting News. He's the best. He joins us every Wednesday, and he joins us next. Well, it's time to talk college football. Bill Bender joins the show every Wednesday at this time. And boy, do we love having Bill Bender on, or what. He's simply the best. Bill, appreciate you taking time to join us as always, even today on the stream for those watching on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. But, Bill, I want to start with a big picture college football question when it comes to 2025. Like you do, I watch college football, multiple games every weekend, and I want to do an investigation, a deep study on why the run game, maybe last year can be included on this as well. But to me, just watching, I was like, man, 6 weeks into the season, having the feeling of teams just can't run the football. And then I started doing a little digging, and turns out, guess what? FBS teams' average yards per carries down 4.18. You look at some 100-yard rushers per week, it's down roughly 25 to 30%. Explosive run rate, which is a 10-plus yard run, is down. In your mind, Bill, you watch a lot of college football. Why is it so hard for teams in this modern era of college football to run the rock?
Well, you got to stay committed to it. I mean, it's a pass-first game, and I'm just scanning the teams that aren't your academy teams. They don't count, right? Well, they do, but that's what they do. So, like, a Power 4 school that averages over 225 rushing yards a game, that list is going to be Utah, Oregon, Missouri, Indiana, and then you're getting into like Florida State, Michigan, Georgia Tech. Those are teams that, and when you watch Florida State, Georgia Tech, Michigan, those teams are committed to running the football. Indiana, their strength and a reason why they ran into some trouble last weekend was Penn State stopped their running game a little bit. So I'm with you. You know, I when I look at like national championship type contenders, those teams that can run through you with 200 yards per game in the FBS out of the Power 4, they're going to have a lot of success.
Bill, I'm glad that you said the service academies don't count the day after Veterans Day, not on Veterans Day, because you might have a tank column outside of your front door right now saying that kind of stuff out loud. That's dangerous. Talking to Bill Bender of the Sporting News. I've been screaming about this on social media for the last 3 days. I saw ESPN send out a notification, a push notification to people's phones, raising the question about where North Texas's running back is going to be next year, sort of predicting where he might go in the transfer portal before the transfer portal window is even, like, months before the transfer portal window. If I'm North Texas's athletic director, I am suing the living hell out of ESPN because he might have left anyway, right? He might have gone into the portal anyway. He can make his own decision, but how is that not tampering to the highest degree?
Oh, I don't think you should be allowed to write those stories. Well, I'm not going to take too many shots at ESPN here, but if it were me, I'll put it this way. If it were me, I'm not writing that story until he actually gets in the portal. Then It's fair game. Like once we do that with quarterbacks all the time, and we're going to do that with quarterbacks here in a couple weeks when whatever the backup, like Lincoln Kienholz, for example, if he were to decide to transfer from Ohio State or Nebraska's backup quarterback, you would write that list right away. And then in defense of with the service academies, I love academy football, by the way. We had a really good story on Blake Horvath last week. Unfortunately, he couldn't play against Notre Dame. You know, I have some connections, some coaches I know that coach at Air Force. I know them very well from their days at OU. So I wasn't taking a shot at them, as you know. I love a team. I'm one of those people that loves watching them do what they do because the option can still be very beautiful.
Sure. Bill, when you talk about great teams, elite teams that have an opportunity or a chance to compete for a national title, we've seen it with Clemson, we've seen it with Alabama in years past. Every team's going to have a little small spot on that, a little blemish where they don't perform up to standard. But guess what? The great teams, even in those games, still find a way to win. Indiana, 27-24 over Penn State on Saturday, and a game where I really admire the way that Indiana responded, and maybe the best catch I've ever seen in the history of college football. What did Saturday's game between Indiana and Penn State tell you?
That Indiana had – okay, so had you guys been texting me like with 7 minutes left, I was texting friends, okay, it's over. Penn State's got them. Indiana can't stop their running game. This is that built-in Penn State moment. Their defensive front getting after Indiana all day. I thought they were very impressive getting tackles for loss. And then Fernando Mendoza leads this drive. That's the second time he's done it this season. And what a throw and catch to Omar Cooper Jr.
Oh my gosh.
I know Gus Johnson had a amazing call. I took the words right out of his mouth. He's screaming. I'm still trying to figure out if Omar Cooper got his feet down. And then you're like, wow, what? Well, not just the catch, but the body control there. And, props to Indiana for not flinching in that moment. It would have been easy for us to pile on that they were frauds and all those kind of things, but they did adjust. And I think the one concern I would have, it was the first time, it's great that you started off with running the football. It was the first time they really couldn't dominate a game just by running the ball. And that's going to happen to them in the playoff when they run into it might happen in the Big Ten championship game when they play Ohio State.
Good point.
Bill, what do you make of this trend? And we saw it on Saturday when Clemson, the game was locked with Florida State. The Clemson student section starts doing the tomahawk chant and chanting the war chant. I've seen multiple teams this season get out white towels or T-shirts and do sandstorm on South Carolina. I don't know if this is a trend that's really sweeping the nation, but I feel like I've seen it a handful of times where opposing fan bases are trolling their opponents by doing their traditions at them. What are you thinking about this trend?
You're asking me to figure out what 18-year-olds do and 22-year-olds do? And I have enough problems. I got a 14-year-old and figuring out what him and his buddies, they say things like 6, 7, like I just stare at them. It's the best way to put up with it is just stare and be like, what are you doing? But in all fairness, my son and his group of buddies, they're amazing kids and they're fun to be around. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that kind of started a little bit with Wisconsin at Camp Randall with jump around, and other teams would start doing it on the sideline. Michigan or Ohio State or whoever they were playing would start dancing too in the fourth quarter. I mean, there are some cool college traditions, but that's interesting. I didn't really pick up on that, but it doesn't. College kids are going to do college kids things. That's going to continue long after we're gone.
Yeah, that's true. Bill, when you look at the top 25 that was released, the AP 25, you see Ohio States, you see the Indianas, you see the Texas A&Ms. But I want to ask you, in your mind, how far off is Alabama? I mean, they had a 20-9 win over LSU, and that score is really not indicative of how weirdly close that game was on Saturday night. How far behind the Ohio States and Indiana is Alabama in your mind?
Not far at all. I mean, and a matter of fact, if you look at our college football playoff projections at Sporting News, we have Alabama as the projected SEC champion. I'm not sliding Texas A&M. Of course, Texas A&M is going to be ranked ahead of them now. I mean, they're undefeated, but this Alabama team's really talented. Ty Simpson's been amazing since the opener against Florida State. He doesn't throw interceptions. He commands the game well. Their defense has played better, and Kalen DeBoer has done a fun coaching job. So they play Oklahoma this week. I could change my mind if Oklahoma comes up to Tuscaloosa and wins, but I don't see that happening. And, I would put them in that weight class with Indiana, Ohio State, Texas A&M. And then you have the gap to me. It's like, do we really believe in Georgia? I think Georgia's really good. We're going to find out Saturday. That's the game we're all going to be watching when they play the Texas Longhorns in Athens. It's going to be a fantastic game.
Bill, in the modern era of desperation from a lot of schools when it comes to hiring new OCs, any OC or head coach is one great season away from turning their fortunes around and getting a big-time job. But I think a lot of people around here and nationally had the expectation that Garrett Riley would thrive at Clemson and would immediately get on people's short lists for Power 4 head coaching jobs. Hasn't really gone the way that he'd like, even though he's had, Cade Klubnik, a Heisman candidate quarterback now for 3 years. How much do you think Garrett Riley has really hurt his prospects or delayed his timeline when it comes to getting a head coaching job at a major program?
You never know. I mean, I think a guy like Garrett Riley, if he took a head coaching job, it would probably be in the group of 5 first. I'm not shortchanging him, but Conference USA, Sun Belt, something like that. Then you work your way. I mean, Sonny Cumbie was that guy, right? There's been plenty of offensive coordinators that have gone that route and then got a bigger job. And then there's also some coordinators that just are happy coordinating. Brian Hartline's a great example of that, right? Like we're trying to link him to Penn State and other jobs over the last couple of years. Maybe he just stays at Ohio State because he's an Ohio State guy that likes calling plays for them. So, yeah, I think it's an interesting question. I think when they hired Garrett, they probably had different visions of how this was going to go offensively. But, yeah, I don't know how to finish that other than to say he's got plenty of time to be a head coach, and he'll probably be a coordinator for a long time.
Bill Bender, The Sporting News. All right, Bill, we're going to go rogue here. I've got two pieces of audio that are going head-to-head. Which piece of audio, you only get to choose one, do you do you declare the winner in this head-to-head audio challenge with Bill Bender of The Sporting News? The first one you mentioned on Saturday, it's making its rounds. Here's your first choice.
Mendoza in trouble. It's out! Touchdown! Wow! Oh, Cooper! Unbelievable! Give him the Heisman Trophy now!
So an incredible Gus Johnson play-by-play call, right? That's your first option. Your second option, Bill, is someone we've had on the show before. Just a couple of weeks ago, we do a segment where we go behind enemy lines and bring on the play-by-play voice of whoever Clemson and South Carolina is playing. Chris Stewart, the play-by-play voice on the radio call of the Alabama Crimson Tide, a pretty good shot at LSU. I want you to tell me which audio wins, Gus Johnson's call or Chris Stewart's shot at LSU.
Just enough time to get down your fiddle, get down your bow. They hardly beat Saban. Apparently can't beat the bow. We're back after this.
Which one wins, Bill?
I'm still taking Gus, but I'm going to qualify that with this, that when I'm in the car, and I was in the car a little bit on Saturday this week, we were traveling to Canton, and you got games up on your phone, but I really am still old school enough that I love listening to announcers on the radio. So when you're flipping through Sirius and and I'm going to cater to you guys for a minute, I love listening to Southern announcers. Like SEC schools, ACC schools, because of the accent, number one, and number two, that they just don't let it fly pretty quick. A lot of the Big Ten schools, they'll stay objective in air quotes, but it's not like when the Southern schools start throwing shots at the other schools, it makes me laugh. I love it. I think it's what makes college football special. When a Tennessee announcer takes a shot at a Georgia team or something like that, I love it. And that's what this sport's supposed to be about. So pretty even there, but Gus's call, man, that was just
so good.
Hearing that live, I was laughing so hard because you could literally feel his excitement, and he could not get his voice going. Incredible.
Bill, what do you think LSU's private investigators are hoping to find as they're digging through Brian Kelly's trash? We let off the show with this, and in my mind, LSU is doing irreparable damage to its reputation. I mean, they're going to hire somebody. They're going to throw a lot of money at somebody. So it's not like the job is going to sit there, unfilled. But how bad does it look if you sign a bad contract, then you refuse to pay out the bad contract, then you try to use some sort of a loophole to get out of paying said contract? What do you think? You obviously followed Brian Kelly a little more closely from a national perspective than we have. What do you think it is they're hoping to find? Because I haven't seen anything or heard anything from his time at LSU that would lead down the path of a for-cause termination.
I don't either, and that's going to be a problem because, this all sounds like they don't want to pay him the buyout. And Brian Kelly on his part is going to say sometimes coaches can meet you halfway and negotiate one because it's so much money, but it doesn't sound like Brian Kelly is going to do that. And to be honest, I think the embarrassment has shifted from Brian Kelly's failure at LSU, which wasn't an all-out failure to me. I mean, it's just they struggled, and it didn't look like LSU football this year after the Clemson win, versus now, like you said, Diesel, the embarrassment's on LSU now because you've got this unstable environment. The governor was weighing in. Now you're doing this. These are all negative headlines that if you were a major coaching candidate, you're going into that interview thinking, man, what if it goes wrong for me? And I've kind of thought the same thing about Penn State in a different way, just that, but less. But although if I was interviewing for that job, I would ask the AD, I say, hey man, last guy in here won 70% of his games. What are you going to do to me when I go 8-4? If I have a year where my quarterback tears his ACL and I go 8-4 and it just doesn't work out because that's the way this sport is now, what are you going to do to me? And I think that's a valid question for whoever interviews for both of those jobs and Florida for that matter. Auburn, I understand. Auburn's had 5 straight losing, is working on a fifth straight losing season. So the next guy, you don't have to ask that question. You're going to be expected to turn them into a winner.
No, I'm with you on that. I said earlier, I think LSU is the one with egg on their face now. Bill, going back to that Gus Johnson call, my last question for you. He said at the very end of that audio clip, just go ahead and give him, talking about Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy now. Are you okay with that? Is Mendoza Bill Bender's Heisman Trophy favorite on the 12th day of November?
Not yet. I mean, he's definitely a favorite. But, I mean, Julian Sayin has something to say about that. Jeremiah Smith will. Ty Simpson will. And then the guy that, telling you, if Diego Pavia drags Vanderbilt to the playoff with 10 wins, and their only losses are at Alabama where they competed, and Texas where he nearly brought them back from a 24-point deficit. And I know nearly as moral victories, we don't do that, but he would have to be in the mix for me. And Haynes King, if he leads Georgia Tech to a college football playoff berth and an ACC championship in a conference where nobody wants to win that conference. I think he's a guy that I would definitely consider as well.
Bill, it's time. Let's get your upset pick for this week.
I already catered to you once. I might as well do it again. I'm going to take Clemson. Like Clemson to get a win as a dog. I'm trying to think what did I pick last week? I don't think I got it. Maybe I didn't get that one right. I don't know, but I can't be anywhere near the lead on this, so I can take whatever shots I want. I'll take Clemson at home, and then I kissed up to you guys twice today.
You did, man. That's why you're the best.
Last week, you took Iowa to upset Oregon, and that's the same game I took, and it was very, very, very close.
I've had a lot of I'm going to go back and look at these, how many horseshoes, hand grenades, upset picks I've had. Not quite close enough.
Well, we keep a record, Bill. If you need,
I don't want to know my record right now.
Text me, and I'll get you your picks week by week.
Bill, you're the best, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, no problem, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Bill.
You too. Bill Bender, The Sporting News. Just the best, man. I love talking to Bill Bender, Diesel. Good stuff. And I did just get confirmation, earlier in the show today, Diesel, at 3:20, and I think we'll have this audio for you at some point this week. We talked to Paul Rogers, the play-by-play voice of Louisville. Andrew Monaco with Texas A&M, the play-by-play voice of the Aggies, will go behind enemy lines with him, Diesel, either tomorrow or Friday. So we're going behind enemy lines twice this week. We're going behind enemy lines in College Station and in Louisville. Just make sure you pronounce that right, because Paul was quick. He was quick to make sure you didn't say Louisville.
Do you think down in Lexington they say Louisville just to troll them?
I'm sure they do. But you know what? There's a lot of Kentucky fans that live in Louisville. I mean, when I went up there last year, man, it was a split. Not 50-50, but there were both fan bases all over that state. They're a crazy bunch too, man.
Speaking of crazy, Cole, you and your fan base have some splaining to do.
Oh.
I got some audio from your former quarterback saying some really weird stuff in his play-by-play calls. We'll play 2 clips of Tony Romo, and we'll ask mountain or molehill next. Cole, you're going to have to get your boy, okay? Tony Romo, that's your quarterback.
Yeah.
Tony Romo is saying some weird stuff lately in his calls of games, and it's gotten to the point where the clearly ultra-conservative NFL fans are all in Roger Goodell's inbox, figuratively, not literally, all over social media complaining like, yo, we got this guy saying weird stuff on your broadcast. This one, I don't know the date of when this game was played. It was a couple of weeks ago, Cole, when Tony Romo makes a weird noise. If you haven't heard this here.
No, I hadn't.
About him, and you'll see right here, hold, and then another hold right there. I think it was.
That to me sounds like somebody who's really had to go to the bathroom for a while.
His brain, Diesel, his brain doesn't connect with his vocabulary. He doesn't realize that shouldn't come out of his mouth. That's what it is.
That was not that bad. I mean, like when you cut it right where it's cut. And again, I didn't choose where to cut that. That's where the clip was ended. This part right here.
Well, of course it sounds bad when you cut it.
It sounds bad.
Of course.
People are like, what, Tony, what are you doing over here? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then he follows it up with a call in the Patriots-Bucks game. Have you heard this call?
I heard it literally this morning.
And Tony Romo said, what about this Bills defense?
This team is DTF, Jim. Patriots.
The Patriots, excuse me. DTF. He said it stood for something else, but you and I we all know what DTF stands for. And Tony Romo knows what DTF stands for. Like, but people are literally calling the NFL offices saying, you know, this is supposed to be a family production. What are you doing having him say stuff like DTF? Because then little kids are going to Google what DTF means. And they're going to find their little minds are going to get blown because no little kid has ever heard dirty words like that before Romo said it.
Romo's he's an interesting cat. He says things, to your point there, that are just they're not what you would typically hear from a play-by-play, or excuse me, from a color commentator. It's unique. I'll say that. I don't have an issue with it, but he's unique.
I mean, look, how many kids are out there listening to, they're waking up and they're watching Stephen A. yell at somebody on the news. They're watching Pat McAfee, who's cursing on the air. I mean, I feel like there needs to be a squares broadcast, a fogey broadcast where you have the old guys who are media trained and they never say anything. Oh, there's the first down for the Patriots. And then you got the colorful commentary. That's what we need to have.
You want PG and you want a rated R broadcast. Right. Diesel, we've got to get to it. College football this weekend. What are the biggest games? And also, we're going to make a huge push on the upset picks next.
Game on.
Well, Tolos, it's hour 4. We've had 1, 2, 3 wonderful hours of the show, but we've got to continue to get our numbers up. And the Upset Picks Challenge, 844-FAN phone. That's FANFONE. Do us a favor, save that number in your phone. And it's a lot easier to get your Upset Picks in that way. You can put the contact name as, Diesel and Cole suck. I hate Cole Bryson. He drives with his phone in his hand. Cole and Diesel are the worst I've ever heard. Whatever you want to call us in your phone, save us in the phone and get your Upset Pick in. 844-326-3663. Before this segment is over, let's go ahead and get 20 more Upset Picks in, Diesel. And at some point today, I've got to get my Upset Pick in. Did you make yours?
I haven't said it over the air.
Okay.
But I have put it on the Upset Picks Challenge, and I regret it a little bit because I was listening to one of those Beat the Books BetQL promos earlier today.
Yeah.
About an hour ago. And they said one of the games that was on my leans that I didn't take. They said, bet on Michigan State to top Penn State. They said Penn State's coming off of an emotional loss. And I said it when I was talking about why I was maybe thinking about that game.
Yeah.
That Penn State's in shambles, right? They've lost their quarterback. They don't have a head coach right now. Penn State is in shambles, and you got two teams that are 0-6. Both of them are 0-6 in conference play. Oddly enough, both of them are 3-6 overall.
And what's the spread on that one?
7.5 points. Michigan State are 7.5-point home dogs to Penn State.
Hold on.
Somebody's got to win this game.
Do they?
Yeah.
Let me look. So I've got a few games I'm looking at, but I want to look at that
maybe
one.
Interest you?
Maybe. What time? What day is that? Saturday? Is that
It's
a
a
Saturday
Saturday
game? Saturday.
Yeah. Penn State, Michigan State.
What time?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm looking. It's fine. Penn State. Oh, here it is. 3:30 in East Lansing.
Yep.
So it's now at 7.5. 7.5 points. Is Michigan State this bad? I mean, is that where we are? Think about that. You said it. Both teams are 0-6 in the Big Ten.
Somehow Michigan State at home only has a 21% chance to win this game.
They're that bad.
Yeah.
And Penn State almost beat Indiana. I guess they are truly that bad.
Aiden Childs, quarterback for Michigan State.
Yeah.
1,400 yards on the season, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Oh.
So he is just not prolific in any way, shape, or form.
How about this nugget from Dan B just now on the stream? No one has taken that game yet.
I thought about it.
No one's taken it.
I wonder if FU Ashley is going to take that game.
Don't tell her about it. Don't do it. Just don't tell her. By the way, there is, there are 3 games tonight that are valid for the Upset Picks Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, Central Michigan favored by 2.5. I know that's riveting. It gets better. Northern Illinois, 2-7 versus 0-9 UMass tonight.
Take out the M. They're just UAss.
Northern Illinois Diesel is favored by 10.5, and they've only won 2 games. And then tonight at 7, Toledo versus Miami, maybe the best game of the night because both teams have actually won 5 games in Maction.
I feel really bad for UMass because I remember App State in their FCS days played UMass for a national championship, for an FCS national title. So UMass was good at one point. They moved up to FBS. They have struggled mightily. I think they went independent there for a little while, but finally landed in the MAC. That's the right place for them. They need to build things back up, but holy cow.
And what are you supposed to do?
Terrible.
What are you supposed to do? Like if you're UMass, what you moved up from FCS to FBS, what are you supposed to? Well, that's the best option.
Idaho moved back to FCS. They're crushing.
Well, that is the only that's the only answer.
Idaho has been really good since moving back to FCS. I'm shocked, to be honest, that UL Monroe, UMass, some of like these really perennially terrible teams don't move back to a small regional FCS conference. You'll be back into that situation where you're playing schools that are 2.5, 3, 4 hours down the road for most of your games. I think it's a perfect place to go back and regroup and cut your costs tremendously.
Okay. So to reset, your upset pick was who?
My upset pick was Arizona on the road plus 6.5 at Cincinnati.
Okay.
Because
interesting.
I don't trust and I don't believe in Scott Satterfield to not go conservative. And Noah Fafita at Arizona is amazing. 23 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Yeah. So here's some games I'm looking at, Diesel. I am looking at tomorrow night, and you are more well-versed in this Sun Belt category than I am. I'm looking tomorrow night at Troy over Old Dominion. Listen to this. Troy is an 11.5-point dog. Yeah. Both teams are 6-3. Old Dominion's 3-2 in the Sun Belt. Troy's 4-1. Troy has a better conference record in the Sun Belt, but Old Dominion, according to the matchup predictor and ESPN Analytics, has given a 74.9% chance to win this game. Diesel, Troy's only given a 25.1% chance. What am I missing here? Is Troy just not good? I mean, does their record not show who they truly are? That's a big spread, isn't it?
It is a huge spread. I'm looking at Old Dominion's schedule right now. They have put up, outside of the Indiana game, which they scored 14 points. They only lost by 13 on the road at Indiana, by the way. They've played Indiana closer than a lot of other Big Ten teams have.
Sure.
They got blown out by Marshall on the road. They got blown out by James Madison on the road. But outside of that, they have been a fairly consistent offense, putting up, maybe they're getting gassed a little bit by torching Virginia Tech, but Virginia Tech's awful this year. 54 points against NC Central, 45 against Virginia Tech, 47 against Coastal, 24 against App State, 31 on the road at UL Monroe. This is a team that can score, right?
Sure.
And even in their losses, they scored 24 at Marshall, 27 at James Madison, 14 at Indiana. So they can score on just about anybody. Maybe it's just that they don't have a lot of faith in Troy, but I looked at that game too.
I looked at it. I did. Tolos, if you just tuned in on this Wednesday evening, get your upset pick in 844-326-3663. Diesel, just for momentum and confidence, it's not worth a lot. I am seriously considering Clemson-Louisville. Clemson on the road is a 3.5-point dog. Mm-hmm. Louisville at home. So, again, the traditional Vegas method is giving the home team 3 points. If you go by that traditional Vegas method, that methodology, Vegas is telling you that Louisville's a 1.5 better than Clemson, which is not much. So it's a coin flip game is what Vegas is telling you, Diesel, that this is a coin flip game between Clemson and Louisville, which means either team can win. We've seen Clemson playing a lot better over the past few weeks. Hey, last week was probably their best performance of the year, right? Offensively, you look back 2 weeks ago against Duke was really when they started playing well offensively. Defensively, last week they were really good. Tom Allen's unit was good. They got they sacked the quarterback 6 times against Florida State. That's big. They're playing complementary football. How does that complementary football translate, though, to a 7-2 Louisville team that's pretty good? Should I have concern about picking Clemson here?
I would.
Is it full? Are they fool's gold right now?
I would with Clemson played really well against BC and North Carolina and then laid an egg after that. So,
and Florida State's not good.
Florida State's not good. I mean, Florida State's not bad, but they're certainly not good. So there's no consistency. You talk about complimentary football. There's no consistency with Clemson either. They're
not.
Up and down and up and down.
Cade's playing good, but you just don't know if you can trust it.
But Cade scored. How many points did they score against Duke and still lost 35?
A lot. I think it was actually
45.
Over 100 is what it felt like.
He had a monster game and the defense let him down. So I don't have any faith in this Clemson team at all.
And that's where I've in 2025 picking Clemson to win a game against a good team. That's ballsy, right?
Might as well go for the gold and just pick South Carolina.
You know what? That is speaking of ballsy, 19.5 points. I think somebody was it Dewey or somebody else picked that game.
Jack Veltri said, hey, there's a new energy with Mike Furry.
Let me tell you this. I love Mike Furry. I've known Mike Furry for a few years now, and he's a great coach, but an even better person. Mike Furry ain't beating A&M, and they can clip that out and put it on the TV in the locker room and when they beat A&M, they'll say it was, because of me. It doesn't matter if Mike Furry's calling plays. It doesn't matter who's calling plays. Satterfield, Dow Loggins. South Carolina's not beating Texas A&M Saturday at College Station. It's just not happening. So I'm not picking. Marcel Reed's phenomenal. Could they keep it close? Yeah. Do they cover 19.5, Diesel? I think they do.
I think we've all finally come around to the idea that this A&M team is for real.
They're
this
good.
A&M team is not A&M under Jimbo Fisher, not A&M under other head coaching regimes.
Mike Elko, man, he's got them going.
Yeah.
What about this one? Any interest in Notre Dame if you hadn't already made your pick? Notre Dame-Pittsburgh's interesting. I don't know, Diesel, that I believe Notre Dame's a unstoppable force that a lot of people do. Pittsburgh's a 7-2 football team. Now, this is not an ACC game. This is not an ACC game.
Right.
But Notre Dame on the road is favored by 12.5 points. This is my early lean right now. This is my biggest. Pitt's got Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not that good, Diesel. They're just not. And I don't know that Pittsburgh, it's risky picking them because 12.5 point spread's a lot, but they're still a really good football team. And I think that Pittsburgh at home, I think they could knock off Notre Dame.
Did you know
it's Marcus Freeman.
Are you considering the fact that Jeremiah Love, running back at Notre Dame, is already 12 yards shy of 1,000-yard rushing season?
Yeah, he's good.
He's really
probably
good.
the best in the country.
And CJ Carr, also really good as a freshman, by the way, at 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions as a freshman. Do I think Notre Dame are world beaters? No. Notre Dame, though, is on paper at every position just better than Pitt. Would I put money on Pitt to cover if I was a gambling man? Yeah, I'd put money on Pitt to cover. But I don't think they're going to be able to hang with Notre Dame.
And then what about this Bama-Oklahoma game? I mean, this one's interesting. When you are doing your upset pick for this week, this one has to be looked at. It's intriguing. Bama, really good, 8-1. Oklahoma, 7-2. I want to find this audio and play it for you from Ryan Grubb because it relates to Brent Venables and sign stealing. But Diesel, I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't have interest in this one. Do I think Bama's the better team? I do, but there's part of me that says take Venables here.
Yeah, but Venables is a defensive guy, right? Venables' defense gave up 27 points against Tennessee.
Yeah.
They gave up 34 points in a loss at home, by the way, to Ole Miss. They gave up 23 points in a loss to Texas. This Oklahoma team, good team. They're just, again, they're inconsistent. And when it's on the road at Alabama, that changes things.
It does. It does. And I've got this audio, Diesel, that I want to play. Speaking of Alabama and Oklahoma here. You remember a few weeks ago when I had the audio of Lane Kiffin talking about Venables sign stealing, and I told you the story about the Clemson player that told me that way back when. Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator at Alabama, was asked about that this week, and here's what he had to say on that. I thought this was pretty telling.
Suggested that Oklahoma might.
Let me start it over.
Coach, a couple weeks ago, Lane Kiffin suggested that Oklahoma might be good at stealing signs or gathering information. Is that something that you guys have talked about this week, and will y'all maybe change signs up, or maybe approach the offensive play calling a little differently, the process of the offensive play calling a little differently?
For sure, on all fronts. They're good at that, number one, and number two, we'll be changing everything. So if Coach Venables is listening, just know they're all changing. But they do everything within the parameters of the game, though, and they're nothing illegal about what they do. They're good at what they do, so certainly I take that in consideration.
So, Diesel, he says they're changing everything when it comes to the sign stealing.
Are they not changing anything, but they're stating publicly that they're changing
Could
things
be.
To make them say, oh, well, we're not really worried about the signals they've been calling because they're not going to use those.
Look, if I'm Ryan Grubb, I'm changing everything. Because Brent Venables, we've talked about it, he's very good at that, picking up and identifying signs and spending time during the week figuring out what you're doing. I think you're crazy not to. Why do you want to put yourself in a position where maybe you're calling plays Venable knows, right? You've got to. So I do find that game a little interesting, Diesel. Listen, Virginia-Duke was one. I highlighted a lot of games this week, man. I looked at Iowa-USC. USC's favored by 6.5. Diesel, 3:30 on Saturday. I looked at Virginia, who's coming off of a tough loss just in very recent weeks now. What was that last week they lost, or 2 weeks ago? Virginia's a good football team. They're on the road at Duke. Duke at home is favored by 4.5 points. It's not a big one. It's not a big swinger there. I mean, you're only going to get 4.5, but I trust
Tony Romo.
I know.
It's not a big swinger there.
And I said in recent weeks, no, it was Saturday. They lost Saturday. So here's what I like. In fact, put me down. Wake Forest beat Virginia Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Wake Forest 16, Virginia 9. A good Virginia team with Tony Elliott coming off of a 16-9 loss to Wake Forest is going on the road at Duke. I think Virginia's the better team. Put me down. Virginia plus 4.5 over Duke. You're not. I don't expect this team to lose 2 in a row, Diesel. I really don't. They're a good football team, and I think that Tony Elliott rebounds. Darian Mensah, he's a good quarterback. We saw what they did to Clemson, but give me Virginia plus 4.5. It's not a big one, like I said, but I'm going to take the 4.5 points, and I'm a Cavalier this weekend.
I like it. I like it. I want to believe that Virginia football can find some consistency, and who knows, even step up and be, a new force in the ACC. God, the ACC needs it. We're all sitting here hoping is it when is it going to be Florida State's time to come back? Is it really Miami's year?
Yeah.
Who gives a rip about them anymore? Give me the Cavs.
That's
Give me
true.
the Cavaliers to get it done.
How about Texas, Georgia, Saturday night, 7:30. Georgia favored by 5.5 points.
Ooh.
Arch Manning starting to play a little better. Still 18 touchdowns on the season, 6 interceptions. This one's in Athens. Diesel, I think I would take Georgia here. In Athens on a Saturday night. This one's the best game of the weekend, isn't it?
This is the reason why you brought Texas into the conference, to see Texas, Georgia regular season in a home stadium.
That's gonna be good, man.
God, I mean, we loved these matchups in the playoffs and it was great, but in neutered NFL stadiums, it's just not the same.
No, I'm with you. It's a shame that they're even NFL
Is this
stadiums.
College game day this weekend?
Diesel, I recall them going somewhere else this week.
I'm going to Google it
up
right
real quick.
now.
I don't think it should be. It's the only answer, but I thought
College game day is going to be at Notre Dame Pitt.
See, that's what I thought. I thought I saw them going somewhere other than an SEC game.
Well, that's a mistake.
Notre Dame Pitt's not even a conference game.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Isn't
Make
it?
Notre Dame join a conference. Come on.
I'm with you on
Jarrett Tripp. Even after hearing you take the pick, Cole, Jarrett Tripp riding with the Cavs.
Let's go, Jarrett.
Over Duke.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
You convinced him.
What's the Cavs? What do they say? Cav up. I don't know what they say. What their slogan? Let's go. We're gonna.
Love it.
What do Cavaliers say? What's their slogan? What's their mantra?
Chicks dig big calves.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Let's go,
Don't skip leg
Virginia.
day.
Let's go. I'm a Virginia Cavalier this weekend in the Upset Picks Challenge.
When we come back, let's talk South Carolina Gamecocks as they're on the road against Mike Elko's Texas A&M Aggies with Jack Veltri of Gamecock Central doing a deep dive on some of your biggest burning questions next.